to explain to you some of the rules that govern your testimony. So the first is, we remind you that you have an obligation to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, in line with your oath as well. It is a criminal offense to deliberately lie or to deliberately withhold information from the commission. Please conduct yourself with dignity and respect, including when you are referring to other people in your testimony, and also when you are engaging with the commissioners. We also owe you a duty of respecting you. Please answer all the questions that are asked to the best of your knowledge. There may be repetitive questions. You still have an obligation to answer them. Yeah. You can ask clarification before you answer the question, but you have an obligation to answer all the questions as they are asked. To everyone that is in the room, I remind you again to not interrupt proceedings. Also conduct yourselves with dignity, respect for the process, respect for the witness and the commission itself. Minimize movements in and out of the building, the room. Please switch off your mobile phones or put them on complete silence so that we don't interrupt the proceedings. I'm even checking mine to make sure that I have switched it off. So what we are going to do, Inspector, is that we are going to take turns to ask you questions. We will start with Commissioner Vidot on my right, and then we will take it from there. Yeah. So you may proceed, Commissioner.
Okay. Good afternoon, Inspector Nicola.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Okay. You are an officer with the prison authorities. Since when?
Since 2000. It's been 8 years service now. 8 years service now.
Okay. And at present, and in 2024, you were the security officer in charge.
Actually, I was overseeing security, of the absence of the security in charge.
Okay. In 2020, when the incident happened in Montagne Posée prison, yes. That is the 5th and the 6th of yes. December, you were not the security personnel in charge?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But later you became
yes.
the security
yes.
officer.
Yes.
Who was in charge then of security?
Actually, we have. There was a security in charge, but he was put out of duty. He was no more working for the service. Inspector Felix Flor.
So he was in charge on the...
No. Before that, months earlier.
Okay. So on the 5th and the 6th, you were in charge?
I was overseeing alongside Inspector George Obokila, but he was not in the country that time. He went for vacation on November 2024. So during the riot, he was not there. So I was overseeing by myself as an inspector.
Okay. And so I would take it that you were the one who was...
I was the one.
Who was in charge of security. And you also had, as a deputy, Mr. Tony Joe, is that correct?
Tony Joe is not my deputy. And we don't have any deputy except for the Deputy Commissioner of Prison, which is Sam Dude, Mr. Sam Dude.
So, but Tony Joe was working with you?
He was working with me. He was a corporal that time.
Okay.
Yes.
And so he was under your...
He was under my command.
Your command, yeah. And after the incident happened, I believe you had the opportunity to have a briefing of the incident?
We have a briefing Actually, the way our duty is based, we have a lot of officers going for. I'm in charge of escort unit also.
I just want to know whether you had a debriefing. After
Debriefing amongst us, yes. Amongst us officers, yes.
Okay. And that was important so that you could understand what happened.
Yes.
And so that you can verify what others would have said about the incident, what they saw in all that. And Tony Joe would have been one of these people with whom you had conversation regarding.
We have conversation almost every day,
Every day. Regarding this, we're talking about the incident.
Actually, the debriefing is not a debriefing that we sit down in a room and discuss. It's debriefing like one-on-one or two-on-one, like, you know.
So the question was whether Tony Joe, you had debriefing.
I did debriefing with them, everyone,
Yeah. And I'm sure as part of your debriefing, you would have checked CCTV footages to see as to what happened.
No.
You didn't watch it?
I did it only on the 5th when I was in control room, when they were rewinding the footage, actually. And apart from that, I did not view it because it was a police investigation. I was not authorized to.
Okay. And normally, who would be maintaining your CCTV cameras and?
Well, we have a corporal that time who was working, Corporal Mikhail. He's the one doing sort of IT, and we have a contractor at that time. His name is he was I don't know his name. He's a foreigner, but now he's no longer working for SPS as a contractor.
Okay, you didn't have any local company?
No, not that time. No.
Not at that time.
No.
Okay. So on the 5th of December, that incident happened at around 3 p.m. Am I correct?
Well, actually, based on what information I got, it started way earlier. Since whatever was happening with information receiving, that's when, for me, it started to happen. It doesn't mean that it happened on that specific tree.
So you were getting
information. I was getting calls from CI Radigon. I was in my office that time, so I was receiving calls.
Okay, but according to evidence we've had, even from CI Radigon, this thing happened around 3 p.m.
Yeah. It started maybe around 2 p.m.
Yeah. And when you received calls from Inspector CI Radigon, sorry, what did you do? He had told you there's something happening.
I passed the information to the commission.
So what exactly did CI Radigon tell you?
He said that inmates are instigating there's a lot of things that's happening, and they are instigating to make a riot. And they're starting to make some disturbance. And
so the first thing that CI Radigon told you is that the inmates want to start a riot?
They threatened to make a disturbance. That was the first call. About that.
Okay. The first thing was that they say there was going to be a disturbance, not a riot.
Sorry?
The first thing he told you was there was going to be a disturbance, not that the prisoners had said they were going to have a riot.
Disturbing.
Disturbing, yes.
Yes, they are disturbing.
So
that was way early, around 11 p.m.
Yeah. So, around 3.
Okay.
Did you get... Okay, between the hours of 11 and 3, any other contacts you had with CI Radigon?
Yeah, he was calling me 2 times. He called me that afternoon, and he said that things are looking not good, and it's getting pretty serious. By the way he's looking at things, he's getting serious, yeah.
And so as a result of having this information, being a security officer, what did you proceed to do?
Well, I passed the information to the higher authority because I've never trained to deal with a riot. So I need to go higher and get...
And who was that higher person you reported to?
Commissioner of Prison.
And when you... did you do that in person or...
Calls.
Pardon?
She was not on ground.
She
So we
was
have
not
to-
on.
No.
Okay.
Call.
And when you called her, what was her response?
Monitor the situation and keep updated because
Okay.
it was still early. It was still early.
So she didn't give you instructions to get somebody to try and negotiate and try to diffuse the situation?
Not that time. No. There was nothing that time to say. No. Because we still have officers on ground, and things might have changed. So there's a lot of disturbance happening on a prison ground on a daily basis. So it might be happening that it might stop or whatever, change the.
So you mentioned that there are many disturbances happening at the prison daily, and they've always managed to diffuse the situation.
At that time, we had a lot of disturbance. Yeah, inmates was doing whatever.
No. I asked you whether they had.
Escalating situation.
Yeah, escalating the situation.
Personally, no.
No. At the prison, when
Okay.
you have these disturbances,
Okay.
normally there would be somebody trying to de-escalate the situation.
It's usually the officers working on ground.
Yeah, and they've been successful.
I was not there, but according to information received, that's how it is.
But you would have known if they were successful because
Yeah.
exactly
Nothing happened.
nothing happened.
Yeah.
So but you yourself, you never tried to go down to the mail block to see what was happening.
No.
Okay. At what time, or was there anything? Was there anything communicated to you at a certain time that the situation had become more serious?
Yeah. Because at around 3:15 to 3:30, I exit prison. I make my way home because I have a commitment. Then on my way back to prison around 4:30, 4:15, I receive a call from Sierra Digon himself, and he said that things have already escalated, and he's in a riot right now. He's being taken hostage.
Is that the exact word that Sierra Digon used? Because he was here. He never said these things.
He told me that one, yeah. That's what he told me.
Okay.
And actually,
Maybe, just to refine that question,
Okay.
did he tell you that there's a riot?
yes,
Okay.
it's already happening, and he's been taken hostage. That was his word. And there was more words that he told me, but I cannot say it in public because it's a bit like, it's
Topsin?
It's yeah.
Do you think it's important for you to say these words?
It's important. It's important.
We
Yeah.
can
So
have
let's
the-
mute.
It's important.
mute. Okay, go ahead.
People swearing here. When they say fuck you, it doesn't.
Yeah. And Siragadekon was telling you that he's been taken hostage, and he's making calls to you, even whilst he's being taken hostage. Okay.
He's inside the office, and he still have the connection, the line connection,
Yeah.
so he can.
And at that time, the inmates were not trying to do him any harm, even if he was calling you.
No, he was locked inside. That's what he tell me. He's locked inside, like he's been taken hostage, cannot go outside. That's what he stated to me. It was brief and not that long conversation, but that was the conversation.
So when he told you that, what did you do?
Well, I'll pass the information to because I was on my way up to home. Then I rushed back to MPP. That's when I see the other authority when I get back there. So I did not.
Go ahead.
CI, no? CI?
What? Inspector.
Inspector Ivan, with such a delicate and very problematic situation that the prison was at that time, why did you choose to leave the prison as you were the person responsible for security? Why did you choose to leave the prison and go?
Actually, at the time that I left, there was nothing escalating, and I have my responsibility to take. I have my kids to pick up at school. There was nobody to pick up my kid, so I have to pick up my kids and drop at home. So it was my responsibility also.
But you say that things had not escalated. But earlier on, you said that Siragadekon had.
He told me that.
One minute.
Sorry.
Listen to me. Earlier on, you had said that Siragadekon had told you that they wanted to. They said that there was going to be a riot.
Yeah.
So you left even after he had told you these things.
Yes.
And being in charge of security,
Yes.
you decided to leave.
Yes, I leave and I was coming back.
Okay. And just to go back on something as well that you said earlier on, you said you've never been trained in how to deal with a riot in prison.
No.
Any officers been trained in that domain?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Do you think there was a need or there is a need for officers to be trained as to how to deal with a riot?
Of course, there's a need. Yes, there's a need.
Are you saying to us now that there is a need now, there was not a need before?
There was a need that time.
Okay.
And just to add, around that time before the riot, we were doing some small training internally in regards to the riot equipment, the shield and whatever button, and we were not trained. They were not trainers. There were some Nepali officers and some Tanzanian officers. I think they were, I don't know their capabilities, but they were trying to do something in that regards. So we will go at OCAP playing field and we'll do something. But it was not on that level of as a trainer.
So did you at that time have any SOPs, documents that would help you in case you had a riot, so that it could help you how to diffuse or how to deal with the riot? Did you have SOPs?
We don't have any SOPs that time in regards to any emergencies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that the police, the PSSW, they are the people trained in riot circumstances. Did you at any time request to get training from those people in order to train your own people at the prison?
Actually, we did. We have a conversation during the, I think, management meeting or something between XCP Janet George and ASP Vincent Marie from Potru. There was plan to have combined training with the Potru officers.
It never happened.
But it never happened. It was on progress. Yeah.
Okay. So upon your return, what did you observe?
Well, there was already a lot of responders at the prison.
Who are
Responders,
those?
like police and ambulance. They were there. Yeah.
Okay. So somebody, you say that when you return,
Yeah.
there were lots of respondees. There was ambulance.
Yeah.
But according to evidence we received last week, was that ambulance was called after you had instructed, I don't remember the name of this lady, who was asked to come back to work, and she took over the control room, and she was asked, and you were giving her directions as to who to call and all that.
She arrived prison before I arrived prison.
Yeah.
So when I reached prison, she was already in the control room. That one. Yeah.
But she says
all the responsive
she was
already-
taking orders from you.
She was taking orders from me.
Yeah, you were the one instructing as to what to do.
I was not giving anybody instruction. I was just taking instruction from the commissioner, and I was giving instruction not to that lady specifically, just to the Nepali officers and escort and security officers that we have on ground. Those were the ones that I was liaising with.
And what kind of instructions you were receiving from CP George?
That time,
Yeah.
to have all the officers back to work, to be on ground. Yeah.
So that was the only instructions you received?
Instruction
from her?
received that time. Yeah, that time.
Okay.
Because when I was on my way up, I was still using my phone to make calls and get people on ground. Yeah.
Around what time did you reach the prison?
Around between 5 to 5:15, like that. Around. I'm not
And already the PSSW had been called? Or not?
Already. Yes.
And are you aware, or do you know who asked for assistance from the PSSW?
No. No.
Did
heard-
you at any time came to know of who asked for assistance from the PSSW?
No.
Okay. So when you arrived, what did you decide
I
to
went
do?
straight to control room, where I see some officers was already there, and they were monitoring that area at the mail block where we have CCTV camera, and one officer I think rewind the footage of inmates breaking the something out to get rubble of blocks to throw whatever.
And Tony Joe was there?
That time, not yet. No.
At any time, Tony Joe came back to the control room?
Control. He came. Yeah, he came briefly. The time that he came when CP George, Deputy Sam Lude was there. Yeah, he came.
Okay. That was much later, or?
Well, before 6 p.m. he was there.
Okay.
Before 6, he was there.
Okay.
Briefly.
So you viewed the footages
Yes.
and you assessed the situation?
There's only one camera that we review, that we rewind to view the footage. Yeah.
Okay. But seeing that there were ambulances there,
Mm-hmm.
I would be right in saying that your thinking would be that there would be casualties.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that would mean that somebody was assessing the situation, or would have been assessing the situation, and say, okay, now we're going to have casualties at the prison.
So you asking me a question about?
I'm asking you a question, yeah.
If I think there will be casualties.
No, the fact that you saw the ambulance there, somebody would have called and said that now we're going to have casualties.
No, it doesn't mean that there will be casualties. Ambulance, when there's any responding emergencies, they will call ambulances also. It's not only prison. There might be some activity somewhere. They will put ambulances there. So it's part of our responders responding. Yeah.
But who would call?
Actually, it's supposed to be called by the duty officer of the control room.
Yeah, so that's what judge is trying to ask.
Control room, yeah.
That's what the commissioner is trying to
They
ask.
should have the directive to call the responding authority. Yeah.
Yes, because she said she received directive.
So I didn't know about that one.
But you were not the ones who gave her directive?
No.
Okay.
No.
So You viewed the CCTV
Oh, yeah, yeah.
footages,
Yeah.
and what was your next move?
I was just
Maybe before you go to the next move, at this point that you are describing things,
yeah.
has CIA Radicon left the prison or is still being
I
held?
believe he's still there at that time.
He's still
I
inside.
believe he's still there. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a belief, or are you aware
Because-
that he had already left?
No. Because when I was at the office, it was later that he was coming from the fence coming up. That time when I go down to meet him, so it was a bit later. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask a question. So we've moved quite a fair amount
Yeah.
of time now.
Mm-hmm.
When you said that in the first instances when C.I. Radigon was talking to you,
Okay.
and he was voicing out the concerns
Yes.
that was happening down there,
Yes.
what was the reason he said that those inmates were doing this, were in this commotion?
I think he was in a panic situation. He was talking to me like he was scared. He was. Yeah.
Yeah, but what did he tell you
Ah,
was the core demands of the...
Okay, I got you now. So all started when we isolate inmate Stephen Modo to an isolation cell after coming back from court. So that's when it started. Yeah. And after that, everything escalated to the situation.
And okay, let's stick to Stefan Modo. You say that he was put in an isolation cell.
Yeah.
Okay, and who decided that he should be placed in an isolation cell?
I got directive 2 days prior of the incident that the police wanted to interview Stephen Modo in regards to an investigation. So CP wanted me to isolate him. The next day it was the ride was on the 5th, so that means on the 3rd. So on the 4th, he wants us to make plans to isolate him, to remove him and isolate him so that police can have access to him, to interview him. But then I think I've overseen our cause list, appointment list for the court, and I see that he was going to court on the 5th. So that I tell CP that it's better if we wait for him to come back after court, so that we can have him instead of going inside, and because it's going to be difficult to get him from. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Don't you think it would have been better practice, knowing that he was going on the 5th
Yeah.
to court,
Yeah.
and the CID office is in town,
Yeah.
that you would have made arrangements prior to taking him to court with the CID officers, that Stephen will be in town on that day.
Yeah.
We can we can bring Stephen
Yeah.
to you, and you would do your work that needs to be done, and then Stephen would be taken back to prison.
Yeah.
Don't you think it would have been a better initiative to take?
It will have been, but I don't know about the police if they were ready to interview him or just to keep him there too.
But
I
nobody
don't-
checked with the police whether that, because you say you don't know whether the police was ready,
No.
but nobody checked with the police whether
It was-
that would have been ideal.
No, it was the commissioner who was liaising with the police. I was not interfering with it. It's not my level to interfere with something.
But in your view, you will agree that the better solution would have been to take him to the police station, have the interview that they need to have, and return him to prison and back in the cell.
It's a good solution, yeah.
Hmm?
It's a good solution, yeah.
It's a better solution.
It's a better, yeah.
Yeah, but I want to ask some questions that.
Okay.
So, who gave you the order to isolate Stephen Modo?
Commissioner,
The Commissioner of Prison.
prison. Yeah.
Can you just answer in full, because we are also doing it for the record.
Commissioner of prison,
Okay.
Mrs. Janet George, yeah.
So she gave you the order.
Directive, yeah.
Then you decided Well, then you executed the
Yes,
order.
yes.
So you are the one who put him in isolation.
Not myself directly.
Okay.
I directed to the other officers
Okay.
to do it. Yeah.
So but you would know where he was placed.
Yes, yes, yes.
Where was he placed?
He was placed in a confinement, in a care transition unit. It's back of the female prison.
It's called what?
Care transition unit.
Care transition unit.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you just describe this unit, this care transition unit? What does it look like?
It's a cell.
Okay, so it's
Three-
a cell.
3 wall,
Okay.
one door, steel door, toilet, shower, and concrete place that we can place a mattress on it. Yeah.
Is it the isolation cell?
It's isolation, yeah. And we have CCTV footage of the.
Okay. So you put Stephen Modo in the isolation cell.
Yes.
Okay. What is the purpose of an isolation cell?
To isolate the inmates for different purpose.
Like what?
Medical
Uh-huh.
purpose. If there's a disease or something that can spread, inmate who's fighting, assaulting.
Okay, so medical, when inmate is being violent. What else?
Inmates that are a threat to society, using their mobile phone to call outside to steal people.
So inciting other inmates.
Yeah.
Is there any other reason
I
for that isolation cell?
think it's more like behavior. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you put this particular inmate in the isolation cell so that the CID can come and interview him. Is that a lawful reason for putting an inmate in an isolation cell?
Actually, the reason, if I may, the reason for that, because that time we have a lot of instance when police was coming to prison for interviewing inmate, and we will tend to stay inside because we don't have that. Officers was not going inside mail block that time. So
I think you are diverting me.
Yeah.
You are diverting me.
Okay.
Because remember, I asked you the reasons for the isolation cell. So those who designed the prison created an isolation cell for a reason.
Yes.
And there are reasons for which you can put an inmate in an isolation cell.
Yes.
You gave me those reasons.
Yes.
Now, when you gave me the list of those reasons, you did not tell me that one of the reasons is you can put an inmate in an isolation cell because
Police.
you want the CID or the police to come and question them. So my question is, do you think when you put Stephen Modo in the isolation cell, do you think you did so lawfully?
I didn't think so at that time because it was.
Sorry?
At that time, I didn't think that it was unlawful because
Now, I'm asking you now.
now
Do you think that was a lawful?
after listening to the commission and all the everything that's happening, maybe
It was illegal.
and it's important to have that SOP, which we don't.
Sorry, Inspector, you are diverting me. I can see. Don't worry. We will discuss a lot of things, SOPs and so forth. For now, we just want to clarify this particular point. So, do you agree that this inmate may have been put in the isolation cell illegally?
Maybe the term illegally. Maybe we should not have. But illegally.
Inspector,
illegally.
you are. Okay, the reason why I'm asking you this question is because there's a law, right, which governs how you operate and how you treat inmates, right?
Yes.
And when I was asking you questions about according to your knowledge, what are the reasons for the isolation cell, right? You gave me reasons that I think are consistent with the law.
Yes, yes.
You isolate you put a prisoner in an isolation cell for medical reasons, for
To society, whatever.
when the inmate is being violent to themselves or to other inmates, right? But there is no provision for putting an inmate in the isolation cell in order to hold the inmate so that the CID can come and question him. The reason I think being the isolation cell is not an easy place to be in. It's a tough place to be in.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So my question is, and I need you to answer that.
Okay.
Do you think it was legal or illegal to put Stephen Modo in that isolation cell?
After listening to you now, it's illegal. Yeah.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it was Eastern, but
Now, can I just ask you,
Yeah.
Inspector, are you familiar with the Prisons Act?
Prison Act.
Yes.
Not
Are you familiar? Do you know your Prisons Act?
I know it. I'm not too versed with it, but I know it's there. Yeah.
Yeah, but that shows that you were not well. You didn't know your Prisons Act very well.
Not that.
So that you took this sort of decision. Yeah? Why I'm saying this? When you said you were instructed to put Stephen in the cell, yeah?
Yes.
Did you ask whoever was giving you this order that we need to check on Stephen Mordaunt, because if you were well versed with the prison stuff, Stephen Mordaunt was a person who was suffering from very high blood pressure.
But do we know that? Do you? Is that
No, I didn't.
okay?
So you see, when you are dealing with people, for example, the kitchen, when they are cooking food, they should know if there are people that are allergic to certain. Now, when somebody has got this sort of problem, he is a very high blood pressure person, he suffers high blood pressure, putting him in an isolation cell, as you call it, is very dangerous. He could die alone there. Yeah? Did you, before you took Stephen to the cell, did you ask for the doctor to come and have a look at him?
No. Not straightforward. No. Usually.
Okay. So maybe before I hand back to you, so how often have you put inmates in the isolation cell?
How often?
Yeah.
Actually, there's a discipline panel at the prison. Whenever inmate is found to be whatever, according to them, I'm not on that panel, guilty of whatever, they would put inmates there for 7 days, 14 days.
Okay. And are there cases that you are aware of where inmates were being put in the isolation cell for reasons other than medical and reasons other than serious misconduct?
No. It's for fighting or getting catch with I don't know, contraband, whatever. It's things like that.
Okay. All right.
You so. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You said to Commissioner that there are times that the people are put into those cells for 7 up to 14 days and whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do you know? Again, going back to your Prisons Act, that people on extended periods in those cells, you should get the blessing of the minister.
I've read this one.
of prisons. Do you know that?
I've read this one, yes. Yes.
You've read it,
Yeah, yeah.
so you know it.
I am aware of this one, yeah.
Okay. Did you, when you were ordered to put people in the cells for 14 years, did you bring this forward to
I think he said 14 days.
14 days? Yes.
14 days.
Yes.
7
Days.
to 14 days.
14 days.
Yes, yes.
Did you bring this forward to explain to whoever was giving you this this order that it is illegal?
No, I've never.
You've never brought it.
No.
You just put the guy in
Yeah,
if you've been ordered.
It was the when I joined prison, that was the practice for years and years. I've seen it happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said there's a panel who decides.
Disciplinary panel, yeah.
Disciplinary panel
But-
that will decide if somebody has to be taken to
Yes, yes.
to isolation
Confined,
cell.
yeah, yeah.
In the case of Stephen Modo, did that panel meet to decide?
No. No.
So
It was just an instruction directly to me.
So it was not with the blessing of the
No.
of the panel.
No. No.
Okay.
But did you, sorry,
Go
Judge.
ahead, go ahead.
Did you tell Stephen Mordaunt when you were putting him inside the cell that you did not need him? You, as the prison people, prison service, you did not need him inside this cell. It was the CID
Yes.
who needed him, and it was the CID who told you to put him in the cell.
No, it was not the CID who told me. It was the commissioner who directed me.
So the commissioner told you.
Yes.
The CID,
Uh,
you never said that the CID told us
No.
to put you in the cell.
No. CID don't have anything to do with that.
Okay.
It's the commissioner to me. And we informed Stephen Modo, I don't think it was me directly or somebody else, that he's being placed there because of police will interview him. And just to add, he asked for a call to call his lawyer, I think, that time. And we provide him with a call at that specific time. Yeah.
And you've been referred a few times to the Prison Act by
Yeah.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Tira.
Yeah.
When a prison officer starts employment with the prison services, do they get an induction to the Prison Act?
No, they don't.
So there's nothing formal that will tell officers, this is the Prison Act, this is what it says, this is what you have to do.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
It's up to you personally. If you want to it's there. You have to go at the appropriate place to get it. You get one. But
So
there's-
you say it's up to the officer.
it's up to the officer.
So an officer who doesn't have interest in reading or maybe I'm right to saying some officers have difficulty reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so nobody will try to introduce the Prison Act to them.
No.
And the times you've been at the prison, there's never been a time when you've had.
Never.
And apart from the Prison Act, another piece of legislation which is very important is the Constitution.
Constitution. Yeah.
Okay, has there been anybody who would come to the prison and nobody is given training?
Nobody. No. Nobody.
But that's a very important piece.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the supreme law,
I know.
and that's where the rights, the constitutional rights,
Everything is there. Yeah.
the fundamental rights
Yeah.
are found.
Yeah.
So if a prisoner, if an officer doesn't know
Yeah.
the fundamental rights, and as to how far an officer can go in respect of disciplining a prisoner,
Mhm.
then the officer would just do whatever he wants.
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah. And if I may add, in regards to our legal instruments, most of the officers is just as you're saying, Commissioner, they're just working as they want, how they can, without anybody guiding them to do that proper way, because there's no procedures in place, and that's the disadvantages of that.
So, have you just noticed what you've just said now? Have you just noticed this, or did you notice it long time ago?
No. With the arrival of the Commissioner of Prison, Janet George.
Yes.
Anyway, he instructed all the heads to work on our SOPs.
Yes.
So that when it was that time that I get to know my act and all. I went through the Nelson Mandela rules. I get to know the prison rules and regulation and code of conduct, everything like that. So it was that time that I was more interested to know and start working on some SOPs. So she was the one that directed all the heads to work on our SOPs.
You just said there was no SOPs at that time when you were there.
No, there was none. No.
So you didn't work on your SOPs?
I did.
When?
2025 until late.
So that was after the incident?
After the incident, yeah.
Okay. Now, can I ask you if you can tell us, was there any training organized by the prison service to familiar the staff with their Prisons Act and their prison regulations in order to facilitate the smooth working of the prisons?
Yeah.
Were there courses held?
Yes, there was. Yeah. Just after, I can't remember the months, but we did a lot of training at the police academy, and collaboration with UNODC also. There was a trainer.
But when was this?
It was 2025.
Was it before or after?
After.
So before that?
Before there was some training. UNODC. They conducted some training.
But why is it that if there was training, now people didn't know their act?
It's training, you put somebody in a class like that, and it wasn't just about the no, it was everything to do with dynamic security. It was on dynamic security, so it involved also the act also in that.
Okay,
so people
now if I may ask you,
yeah,
can you explain to us what dynamic security means?
Dynamic security is to have that, for what I understand, is to have that bond between the inmates and officers, and ways to, get to,
So have your bond with the inmates, be able to get information inside the prison, like intelligence. But it seems that if this problem happened at the prison, dynamic security was not in place.
It was just started, Most officers don't know what is dynamic security, even if they.
Yeah, but they went to training.
They went to training. You can put somebody in a class and.
But was there anyway? I don't know if at this point I can ask you.
Okay.
Was there anybody that was overseeing that the dynamic security that the officers had learned, were they being put into practice in order to smoothen the daily work of the prison service?
There was some feedback from the training, like we were trying to get officers involved to know what exactly happened at the training. We did some, CP George conducted some exam for all the officers, so there was
on a daily basis, prison officers are working with the inmates. Yeah. Was there a control? Was there something that was checking if what had been learned was being implemented?
No, nobody's. No. Like on my side, if I'm head of security, I will see within my department. But usually from our side, we are not that connected with inmate because of what we do. We have the security duties, more like perimeter and all. But it's more like custodial officer who's more engaged with inmates on a daily basis, and welfare and probation officer. The other one that is more dynamic with inmates. Yeah.
So the officers who went for this training, were they high-ranking officers?
No, they were from POs to SI. That one.
And Do you know whether they had the capacity? Did you? Oh, sorry. Did you go to that? For
Yes,
that
indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe that all the officers who went for that training had the capacity of understanding and putting that training into practice?
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so?
No.
So that means that even if some officers were trained
Yeah.
in that,
Yeah.
they will not be, and you say they will not put it into practice.
No.
So you just, it would just be as you were before,
Yes.
the training, because these officers could not.
I think, Commissioner, I think it's normal, this one, because there's people that come to work just for a salary, you know. You just come and do their 8-9 hours and go home. But there's people that are more interested to build up themselves and learn. But there's some that will just be there and get a salary at the end of the month and go home. Yeah. That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
Okay, let's move back to after you've returned to prison.
I was exactly at the control room. Yeah. I was at the control room and within my office, which is situated next to the control room. That's where I was until I have instruction from the commissioner to gather some prison officer that was there around to get them ready to lead, not to lead, but to guide the police officers to enter the block.
And how was that? How was that going to be done? Like the officers who would be in front, or who would be following? And
actually, I'm not tactically. It was the police that was supposed to guide the team. They were, I think, at that time there was two police officers who was leading, ASP Mario, ASP Dacambra. I think they're the one that was supposed to take the lead. They're the one that tactically trained for this one, and they're supposed to guide our officers. So, yeah.
But
So are you saying that the prison at that stage had surrendered responsibility of the prison to those police officers?
Definitely, yes.
So the prison had nothing to do with it anymore?
Nothing to do, yeah. Just to assist.
is that normal?
For sure, I don't know.
In your view, is it normal?
My view, maybe, is not that. My view. It's a big word, this one, view, my view.
It's not?
But police, I think, should be involved because they are trained officers at that time.
Okay. What about military officers?
I don't know.
Do you think police officers, military officers should have been there at the scene, on site?
That maybe depend on the police at that time.
No, I'm not asking you.
Okay.
I'm asking you whether you think.
At that time?
At any one time.
Maybe not. Maybe
since we are still in this stage, did you at any time sit in a meeting to strategize how to extract a CI Radicon who had been detained inside the prison?
No. We have debriefing.
What is the answer?
I say no.
Okay.
I was continuing.
You did not.
We did not know.
You did not. The question is, did you
I
participate in a meeting strategizing on how to extract CI Radicon from prison? No, you did not.
No.
Was there a plan to extract CI Radicon from?
I believe officers was just going to go inside and.
The question is, was there a plan?
No.
There was no plan.
No, not that plan that I know of.
Make us understand then, because so that we are also recording this properly.
I understand. Yeah.
So your fellow guards are detained inside the male block, prison block.
Yeah.
And some of the guards have described that episode also saying it's a hostage situation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, whether we agree or not, it's something else. But this is what they said.
Yeah.
And I guess they use that term to describe that this is a scary, serious situation.
Yeah.
So you have a serious situation unfolding inside the mail block.
Yeah.
And you don't have a plan on how to extract or remove your guards. Is that what you are saying? That there was no plan?
No, there was no plan.
To respond to that serious situation?
On our side, prison side, you're saying? Or whoever was there?
No.
Are you referring to the prison officers? Or?
We are at, I guess in the story, we are at a stage where you have told us that you were reviewing CCTV camera to see what is happening inside. And I asked you a question.
Yeah.
At that stage, is C.I. Ratigon still held inside the prison? And you said you believe so. Then he asked you, do you believe so? Oh, yes. Then you said yes.
Yeah.
Right. So he is still inside. And I'm asking you, when he was still inside, held inside, was there a plan to extract him?
The plan was, the police was there to, it was planned, yeah. It was planned. Because the police make a plan to go inside to remove him. That's when I was instructed to gather my officers to assist the police. So that means there was a plan there.
Maybe then you might need to walk us back again so that we have a correct recollection of events. So inmates detain some guards inside.
Officers inside, yeah.
Right. At that time when some of the guards, including C.I. Ratigon, are detained inside, are you saying the prison authorities had already called the police?
When he was detained inside? Yeah, I believe so, yeah. I believe so. That's when the control room operator make the call.
So they had already called the police?
They already called the police.
Who was in charge of the prison at that time then?
The highest ranking officer was the deputy commissioner of prison.
Okay, so you have called the police, but the prisons is still in charge of the prison authority is still in charge of the prison.
Still there, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm now asking you that question again. Did you participate at that point in any meeting to extract your colleagues who had been trapped or detained inside?
At that time, yes, I was in the command center.
Did you participate in any meeting?
I was there. Yes.
You participated in
I was
any
there, yeah.
Who was chairing that meeting?
It was some officers from the police, Weeds, Labotte, CP Denous, ex-CP Denous, ex-CP George, DCP.
But the meeting cannot be chaired by more than one person, Inspector.
No, I'm saying who was there, who was present. Sorry.
Let's do this. Just answer the question that I'm asking. I said, who was chairing that meeting? It can only be one person. You can't have a meeting chaired by 700 people.
I've seen a lot of them inside. They were all like discussing. I don't know who was chairing this one.
So your answer is you don't know who was chairing the meeting.
No.
Okay. Yeah. But you are in charge of security.
Yes.
At that because time. Your colleague is not in the country. So don't remind us, please. We know. You told us already.
Okay.
Yeah, you are in charge of security on that day.
Yes.
And there's a serious threat to the security of the prison.
Yes.
And you are in a meeting to deal with the security of the prison.
Yes.
You don't know who is chairing the meeting. Is that normal?
At that time, I was not thinking about who's chairing the meeting. It was just that I was there, my presence was there, and they were discussing.
Yeah, but when you say they were discussing, you are creating an impression that you were passive, right?
Okay.
So I'm thinking, because you are creating an impression that you were passive, you were just in the meeting, right?
Okay.
But we struggle to understand that because the first question we asked, what is your job? and what was your role on that day.
Yeah.
So the moment you tell us that you are in charge of security at the prison, right, then we assume that you would know who, number one, called you into the meeting and who is in charge of the meeting. So if you say you don't know, which is what your answer was, the question is normal that you would not know who is...
I don't know who chaired the meeting.
You don't know. And so the question, which
Okay.
I was getting you to answer is that normal for you not to know
I understand you now.
who is in charge of a meeting to deal with a serious threat to the security of the prison when you are in charge of security of the prison?
It's not normal.
It's not normal.
No.
Did you try to find out
No.
who was in charge of the meeting?
No.
Now, who do you think was in charge of the meeting?
Either Weeds from police or Labotti. One of the two was there.
Who? Police officers?
I think, yeah. They are high-ranking officer. Weeds and Labotti.
Weeds.
But how can you say, because earlier you said at this particular point,
Mm-hmm.
the prison authorities led by the CP
Yeah.
are still in charge of the prison. So, and the meeting you are describing is a meeting to discuss how to extract your colleagues who are trapped inside.
I
So
don't know.
how can that meeting be chaired by an external stakeholder? Yet you said earlier
Yeah.
the prison authority was still in charge of the prison.
Not then. Maybe we skip some time now, but it was at that time, no. When the meeting was conducted, it was no longer in the prison authority.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the outcome of that meeting?
Well, just to find ways to get these guys out and try to make...
Yeah, those are the ways that we
peace
want
and
to
whatever.
know.
It was not something that I remember well, but they were trying to sort out how to get inside, whatever. Yeah.
That begins to sound like another witness we had here.
No. It was.
This is an important function
Yes.
for
yes,
you.
Yes.
as the person in charge of security.
Yes.
So you were in a meeting, and I guess that's sort of the first major meeting to discuss how to extract your colleagues who are inside. And then you say you can't remember what was...
The only thing I remember is
decided.
that they
Did you decide to carry arms into the prison? Did you decide to just ignore? Did you decide to engage with the prisoners? What did you decide?
the first step that was to get some officers. That's what I get. That's when I go and get this instruction to the officers working with me. Was to gather some officers working at the prison authority, with the prison authority, to guide police officer inside. That's it. That's the only thing.
To guide
For
police
that's the
officers.
first part of the
To guide the police officers to do
Yes.
what?
To go inside, I think. To go inside, yeah.
To go and do what? Inside.
To go inside and put order, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that meeting did not resolve that there is need for any engagement between the prison authorities and the prisoners. I think something people call negotiation, but I think it's engagement.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. That's
So there was no call for negotiation at all.
No.
And as a prison officer, security officer at the prison, don't you think there would have been a need for engagement between the prison authorities and the inmates?
I believe there was some after. I did not know. I do not recall
No.
that. I did not know.
No, I'm saying at the point of that meeting.
Ah.
Don't you think that there would have been a need?
I never thought about it that time, but yeah, supposed to, yeah.
So, and you said that that meeting, that you named two police officers who were in charge, and at that point, as Mrs. George, 1 minute, as Mrs. George decided to abandon her authority, to these officers?
I don't know how it worked, but I just saw it was there. I didn't know how the authority was passed on. It was just happening. I don't know.
But
you were at the meeting, didn't you?
I wasn't. It was not. Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Okay, but when the discussion was taking place, did they not discuss about what Commissioner Justice had just said?
Yeah.
To negotiate, there was no talk about how to go and negotiate with the guys?
No, I didn't
So
hear it.
it was only to go inside?
Yeah. There was nothing about negotiation. No.
Okay.
So, Mrs. Rose at that time had abdicated her duties to the
I don't
police.
know. She was just there, but my observation was that the police was already in command. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you, as a security officer,
Yeah.
you would be in charge of the security of the prison perimeter, and also of the officers.
Yes.
Yeah, that falls under security.
Yes.
Did you not voice any thought or any concern as to how this could be done?
No. Like I say, I don't know anything about hostage and riot. I was just there as a.
But you are the person in charge of security, and that is your function.
Yes. Supposed to, yeah.
Supposed to be.
But at that time.
Not that it's supposed to be. That is
It
your
is,
function.
But
it is not that
as I
it's
explained to
supposed
you at that time, I was put there to oversee security. I was not trained to be a security officer in charge. I was there to oversee alongside somebody else. And incident happened, and I don't say I know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's just
Even
I was
if
there to-
you were just there you were there, you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
overseeing, okay. Because your superior had gone and you had taken over the role.
Yeah.
But you are required to discharge that function of the security officer who has to take control over the security of not only the buildings and the perimeter, but also of the prison officers.
Yeah, it was also my responsibility, and responsibility also the CI that was responsible for their officers. Yeah, alongside them.
It's your responsibility. Then you delegate to them as to what they have to do. Because once you are heading that, it's your responsibility.
You mean the officer that was hostage inside, or the whole?
I mean, not only officers that are hostage inside.
Okay.
It's even the inmates. Inmates, they are under your security.
Yes.
And you have to ensure that they are secure at all times.
Yes.
So, but you didn't have any say in how it was best to take over or to regain control over the prison?
No.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think, at that time, did you feel that your role was being valued by the prison management or by the CP at that time?
I was not thinking about. No. Like.
Did they appreciate your role?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Do you feel that they respected your role?
They respected me. Yeah, in my role. Yeah.
Were you happy at that time?
Cannot say happy, but I was.
No, I mean happy as in with the way that you were involved.
Things was going. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you then, if your answer is your role was valued, you were treated as an important critical stakeholder, that is your answer, right?
Yeah.
So if you say that, how is it possible that you then say you were called into a meeting, a key meeting, to discuss how to extract your colleagues trapped from inside prison, but you are almost like just a participant in that meeting?
Yes.
Not even a participant.
Yeah. So how make us understand how, because if you probably put me in that situation where I'm in a critical meeting to discuss how to restore order and deal with a security situation, and I am in charge of security, but I'm not aware of who is chairing the meeting. I'm just an observer in the meeting. That means I'm not being valued.
No, I didn't take it like that. No.
How did you take it?
There was a lot of high-ranking officer, law enforcement officer in that room. So they are more capable and more experienced than me. Okay. So I respect that. Okay. And I should not be like, if I have some input, yes.
Did you make any input?
I did not have any input that time. No.
So you did not make any input in that meeting? No.
I was just trying my best to help them, to assist the police. That was the thing, yeah.
Okay. But you like you were trying to help them. But no, I mean, part of helping them would be to tell them, okay, that's what we should be doing. Did you ever tell them, no, we cannot go that way. We need to have some negotiation first before we can move in. It's only if we do not succeed that we will try to move in.
No. I was never thinking also about negotiation. It was not in my no. I didn't say anything.
So your thinking was just to go down with them and to enter into the prison?
No.
Okay, maybe let's ask
just to
what was your thinking?
Just to follow directive.
What was your thinking?
Do the best to follow the directive.
From who?
From the authority that was there.
Okay.
Yeah, because we are the one that is working there. So to mitigate the risk, we should.
So make us understand something. Who is helping who here? You said you were just trying to help them, but is it not the other way around, that the police are there to help you?
Okay, let me explain. Like, if you're sending like police officer inside the mail block, we're talking about mail block now. You don't know the structure. You don't know the facility, how it's divided. So that's the thing. To help them to navigate themselves inside.
Okay, but you are moving to the other stage. We are still in the meeting.
Okay.
Where, critical stakeholders have been called to discuss how to extract colleagues who have been trapped inside. That's where we are.
Okay.
So in that meeting, you are a critical stakeholder, right?
Yes.
Because you are in charge of security.
Supposed to, yeah.
So you keep saying supposed to be. Yeah. So you were not.
I am.
So why do you keep saying supposed to be? Supposed to? Because every time I say you are in charge of security at the prison, you say supposed to. What does that mean?
No, I'm there. I'm overseeing, so I'm there. It's my responsibility now, so I'm there.
So can we just clarify that you are in charge of security?
Yes, I am.
On that day?
On that day I was, yeah. There was nobody else. I was, yes.
So there's no suppose here?
No suppose.
You are in charge?
I am, yes.
So you are a critical stakeholder?
I am.
And you are in a meeting to discuss a strategy on how to address a security problem?
Yes.
Right. So don't you think your input is necessary in that meeting?
Yes.
It is, right?
Yes.
And you didn't make any input?
No.
Do you think that is normal?
No.
So what input would you have made?
I don't know the strategies, the tactical way of.
How do you think the situation should have been resolved?
If it was peaceful, it would
have been better. At that time? Yeah. No, I'm just asking you.
At that time?
Yeah. How do you think the situation should have been resolved? At that time, you were in a meeting.
I was thinking that they will just barge inside the what is called, the guard room there, where there was the hostage, and remove the officers, if they were still there, and just try to take control of the prison.
So why didn't you make that suggestion in the meeting?
Because I believe that was
That is the
That was
decision
the-
they had
the
made
decision.
anyways.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
agreed.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
So why don't you tell us that? That
Okay,
I
okay.
sat in a meeting.
I didn't say anything, but
I sat in a meeting where I was invited,
Mhm.
and a strategy was designed, and I
Okay, okay.
agreed with the strategy. So that you are part of this.
Okay.
So you should own the strategy because you agreed. But then earlier on, you were
Understand.
trying to create an impression that you were just watching, you were just helping these people,
Okay.
and whatever they want, you give them that. But that's not really
Understand
the
That,
because this was a serious meeting
yes.
to deal with a serious problem,
Yes.
and serious people were in the room, and you were one
Yes.
of the serious people in the room,
Yeah.
right? So did I ask you again? Did you make any input in that meeting?
Yes, I did.
You did, right?
Yes, yes,
So why
yes.
did you say no earlier?
No, I don't understand even if I'm there.
It was very
No, you
understand?
lied then, because I was very clear. You don't want us to go back and review the record, because the record is recording everything
Okay,
you are saying.
okay,
So if you say I was not clear when the truth is I was clear, it means you are lying again.
No, it's not that way. No.
So why
It's not that
why did you say you didn't make an input when in reality you made an input?
The terms maybe of input, when you're stating input to me, maybe I'm not. I'm saying that it's verbal words. That's what I'm thinking. Input.
So you
That's
didn't
what-
say anything?
That's what I understand. Input.
You didn't say anything?
I didn't say anything. But
In
he told me
meeting,
that-
you didn't say anything in the
No.
meeting. But
He said
if-
that the strategy I follow. That means what is it?
So you went along with the,
I
with the
agree
strategy.
with strategy.
You agreed with the strategy that they were.
Yes.
They were going to
I
undertake.
don't have any choice. I was there to listen and did not have any input. Input is when
you cannot say you didn't have any choice.
No.
As head of security,
Yes.
your role there is very vital. It's very important.
Yes.
Okay, you cannot just say, "Oh, I didn't make any contribution
Yes,
to the
we
discussion or
understand. Yes,
anything like that," because your role is vital. There's a necessity for you to have participated and say something regarding the strategy. Otherwise, if you didn't say anything, that means you agreed with the strategy.
Yes.
You agreed.
I agreed. Even not saying anything. Yeah.
A few minutes ago you said, yes, I said something in the meeting. I made an input in the meeting.
Yeah.
Then a few minutes earlier you said, no, I didn't.
No.
Now you are back to...
I say something. No, I did
Yes,
not
you
say
did.
something. I said it.
Yeah.
I did not have any input in the meeting.
No, you said
Input is
you said
saying
you said
things,
something. It's not that you didn't.
Did you
say
contribute
any
anything
input.
in the meeting?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Did you contribute any idea in that meeting?
No.
Did you say anything in that meeting?
No. I was just there to listen and get directive. That's it.
So you abdicated your role as a security officer.
Yeah.
No, but you see, this is where we then, 2 minutes later, have some confusion.
Maybe it was
What is the
confused.
answer to his question? Can you verbalize the answer? He said, so you abdicated your role
Meaning
as the
meaning,
head of security.
meaning I let go of my roles.
Yeah.
Uh,
As a security officer.
if I did not participate, maybe. Yeah.
If you did, no. I think the answer can only be yes or no. Right?
Yes. I say
Because
yes.
you can't say if I didn't participate.
If you mean
when
it that
2
way,
minutes ago you said
I
to
say
us,
yes.
no, I didn't say anything, I didn't contribute anything. So you didn't participate in the meeting, except that you were just sitting in there, observing.
Yeah.
So you abdicated your
Yes.
your duty.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Inspector, can I
Yes.
just clear this thing as well, on my side?
Mm-hmm.
When you said you were in this meeting,
Okay.
there were so many officers inside there.
Yes.
Obviously, the Commissioner of Prisons was there, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. At any point in that meeting,
Mm-hmm.
was it said who would be taking over the responsibility of this operation at the prison? Was there a name that was given who was going to lead the operation in the prison.
No.
So that means that everybody that was in this meeting could be giving orders at any one time.
Yes. I did not hear anybody saying I'm taking responsibility.
So A could have called you and given you an order. B could have called you as well and given you an order. F would have called you and given you an order, and this would have been okay.
Yes, that time, yeah.
So there was no, can I say that there was no control on what was happening at the prison in terms of security forces?
Maybe commissioners. Before I entered the room, let me be a bit. Maybe there was that discussion, which I don't know. But while being there inside.
Okay, but you came in.
Yeah.
Now you come in.
Yeah.
As the.
We were already.
As
some
the
officers
head
already
of
inside.
security.
Yes.
You come in as the head of security.
Yeah.
Very important man at the prison at that time.
Yes.
You were not told who would be leading the operation?
No.
So when you now leave the room
Okay.
to go to implement this strategy of storming the prison block, who is in charge?
That time,
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Please don't say supposed to. Just tell us who was in charge.
I don't know. It was police officers. Police
Those are
officers.
two answers.
ASP Mario.
No, wait. Those are
Yeah.
two answers. You
Yeah.
first said, I don't know. Police officers. So you are giving me
Okay.
two conflicting. I
Yeah.
just want to know who was in charge.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Right. So his question was,
Mm-hmm.
you are conducting an operation
Yeah.
to deal with a serious security problem.
Yes.
You are the head of security, but you don't know who is the person leading this operation, because in security you have a command and control, right?
Yes.
Is it possible that you can conduct an operation without knowing who the commander of an operation is?
I believe so. No.
Okay. You see, some of these answers that you are giving can also create an impression that either you had abdicated your role, right? Or you are protecting some people. Whichever view
Yeah.
can then create a doubt as to whether you are fit to continue in your job. Do you realize that?
Yes.
Because you can't be head of security. Who enters into an operation? First, who enters into a meeting to discuss strategy, but does not know who is in charge of that meeting, and does not make any input, any contribution in that meeting. Then a strategy is agreed, and an operation begins, and you are part of the operation, but you do not know who is in charge of the operation. So that could create some serious allegations regarding your competence to actually continue in your current job. Do you realize that?
Yes.
It is your duty to then deal with those allegations and make sure that we are properly understanding what you are saying. So do you want us to, what do you want us to believe? Do you want us to believe that you actually did not know who was in charge of this operation? Or you know, but you are not free to tell us who was in charge of
Maybe
this?
you don't understand. We have a lot of responders at the prison, a lot of police unit. And when going inside, I was not informed who was going to lead the team, just to prepare prison officer to be there and to lead the team. In that team, there was patrol officers. Patrol officers was leading by ASP Marie. And then there was another group leading by ASP Dacambra. So I don't know who was leading between the, you understand me? That's what I'm saying.
So from the meeting to the putting into operation your strategy, that was purely chaotic. Nobody knowing who is in charge.
While I'll
Answer my question.
I know. I didn't know.
You-
I don't know who was in charge that time.
No, my question was not who was in charge. The whole operation
Okay.
from the meeting, that was totally chaotic.
Commissioners, maybe they know. That's what I'm saying. When I entered the room,
In your, what
Yeah.
you saw,
but what I saw, yeah.
would you describe it as purely chaotic? Nobody knowing who is in charge or who is going to do what?
I cannot say that because I don't know if they know what they were doing. You understand? And I was there, I get directive, I move out, I prepare the guy. They were still in the meeting, they were still there. So there's a time that I have to go out and deal with my guys to get my guys. So it was that time.
Okay, so you moved down
Yeah.
with your group.
I went down to the administration block. It's on the, I was on the first floor, moved down to the ground floor, and I called these officers who was somewhere scattered around. Most of them was there, along with the police and the other responders. I called them. I tell them to prepare themselves because they will move inside to guide the police inside.
Okay.
That was the directive.
Right.
Yeah.
But before you moved in,
Yeah.
did you notice that C.I. Radigon has already been released?
Radigon, I think it was a little bit later. I think he came running up. Yeah, because I was still somewhere within the ground of when I see him rushing up.
Because we have testimony that at that point he had been released before.
Before the responders go inside.
Yeah,
yeah.
they went in.
Yeah. Because at that time I was there.
Yeah. So C.I. Radigon had been released. Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
there is no need for you to try and enter the prison to release him. You will agree with me. If he's already out, there's no need to enter and release him.
Yes. To release him because he's not there. Yes.
Yeah, he's not there.
He's not there. Yeah.
So at that point, would the strategy have changed?
I don't know. The plan remained because
No,
our
the
guys-
plan cannot remain because the main reason you were going in
to remove
was to remove him.
remove him. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now he's removed. So the strategy
Strategies change.
would change.
Would change.
There would be no need to go inside, most probably.
Yes.
So you agree with me that there needed to be a change in strategy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And anybody discussed at that point, look, C.I. Radigon has already been released. There's nobody held
danger.
captive or inside. There's nobody whose lives, officers whose lives are in danger. So we have to go back. If there is anything else, then we'll have a strategy as to how to deal with any other events happening.
yes.
But that was not done.
No. Not in my presence. No.
I know it was not done in your presence.
Yeah, but Judge, can I carry on what you are saying? Okay, just to
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of
I think let's say commissioner. For the
Uh,
record.
commissioner,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So that he does not think that he is appearing before judges.
Commissioner Vidot, yeah? Okay,
Okay.
now you were down on the ground floor. You were on the ground floor.
Yeah.
You saw C.I. Radigon. He had been released from.
Yeah. I met Asterius first.
So you met Asterius, he was
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah. And later I met Radigon. Yeah.
Okay, so the meeting was still taking place at the top. The people were still up there.
Everybody was there, and they were moving in and out, so they were still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you go back to this meeting and tell them, look, guys, C.I. Radigon has been released. There's no more hostages inside. What is the next step?
No, I did not.
Why?
Yeah.
I did not. I just didn't.
But that would have been part of your duty as a security officer.
Yes, yes.
Don't you think maybe if you had gone back up and tell them that this was the situation, things would have panned out differently?
Maybe, yeah.
But
Maybe
let's
they
first
could have-
understand why did you not go back to report that?
No, they already know that they were out. There was communication
They
between
already
the.
know.
There were communication between the control room and the command center. There
Yes,
were-
but his question was, you saw that CI Radicon has been released.
Yeah, yeah.
So his question was, don't you think you should have gone back to the
To
meeting?
the-
I wish I could say go back to the commander, but you said you don't know who the commander was. So don't you think you should have gone back to the meeting
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and said, now that CI Radicon has been removed,
Yeah, yeah.
has been released, so there is no need
Change strategy.
to continue with the strategy. We need to change strategy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So my question is a bit different because you said, yes, I didn't go and
Yeah, yeah.
make that point.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, why did you not go back and make that point?
I don't know.
You
It just
don't know.
happened. I didn't go.
You just didn't.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I would like
Again, you failed in your duties if you did not go back.
If you're saying so, yes, yes.
I'm saying so.
No.
If
I think you are being disrespectful to the commission. By
If I
saying-
say so, yes, I do say so.
okay, I'm being
Yeah, but
disrespectful.
we're not allowing you to say that.
Okay.
You should just answer the question. He is asking you a question. Don't you think, and the question is very legitimate, don't you think you failed in your duties? So you can say no,
No, yes,
or you
yes.
can say yes,
Okay, okay.
but you can't say if you say so. So what is your answer to that question?
Yes, I feel maybe. Yeah.
Mm.
I feel, yeah. If I did not go back, maybe I feel, yeah. Yeah, to inform you.
Right. Now, you said that they knew what was going on, because you mentioned that there was two different groups of people. There was a command center,
Yeah, command center.
and then there was a
The control room.
control room.
Control room, yeah.
Where was the command center based?
In CP's office.
In the CP's office.
CP's office, yes, yes.
And the command and the control room is just
Further
two
down
doors
the,
away.
Further down the
okay.
hall, yeah.
Now, who was in command? The person responsible for the command center.
I think the highest, he was Inspector Riaz.
Who?
Inspector Riaz,
Inspector Riaz
yes.
was in charge of the command center.
Nobody put him in charge, but he was the highest ranking officer there. So this responsibility falls on the highest ranking officer.
Command center or control room?
Control room.
Control room.
Yeah, control room.
Who was in charge of the command center?
I don't know, sir. I don't know.
So if you, as the security officer,
Yes.
you had to report something to the command center,
Okay.
to whom would you be reporting?
To my commissioner.
So that means your commissioner was in charge of the command center.
No. That's how we delegate the information. We go to the.
No, you said earlier
Okay.
that the prison had already surrendered
Okay.
responsibility of the operation to the external forces.
Yes.
You said this.
Yes.
Now, if you said this, then the CP was no longer in charge of the operation.
But, I think that's the way I've learned it. I pass, even she's there, I pass it on with her, then she will pass it on to the one that is highest, or the one controlling the operation. That's
So
the way-
but you didn't know who was in charge of the command center.
No, I don't know. No, I don't know. They were high-ranking officers. They were there. I
Yeah,
can-
but it's very hard to understand that you, at your level,
Yeah.
you don't know who is in charge of the command center at the prison.
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
There have been lots of incidents that have gone through in the Seychelles. We heard about the command center, and we know who the officer is in charge of the command center. But this one at the prison, you didn't know.
I don't know. But there was two highest police ranking officer.
Okay, so who are they, those two highest
Weeds
officers?
and
Sorry?
Weeds. I don't know his rank right now.
Mr. Weeds?
Yeah, Mr. Weeds and Labonte, I believe.
And who?
Labonte. I have it written here.
Who is Labonte?
Maybe. Can I refer to my?
Yes.
Sogo. Sorry, Sogo. I mistakenly Sogo.
Mr. Songo.
Sogo, yeah.
And Mr. Weeds.
Mr. Weeds, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now at the point where
Okay.
there was no need
Go inside.
to carry on with the operation
Yeah.
because Sierra Leone has been released. Why did you decide to stay there, and what later happened was not warranted?
I believe on one side there might be a need to have involvement of officers later on. That's what I'm
later on, yes.
Not-
Look.
Are you meaning that time?
At that time,
Okay.
there was no need to keep the officers there.
Okay.
And you, as the security officer, there was a need for you to tell them, look, the operation that we were going to carry out, there's no need for that operation anymore since Sierra Leone has been released. But you decided to stay on.
Yeah.
And actually, because you stayed on,
Yeah.
this is what caused the situation to worsen.
Yeah.
You agree with me? Yes.
Agree.
Yeah. So what was your thinking at that time?
Well, it was hectic that time, really hectic. First time, like I said before, I ever deal with a riot. It was hectic. Yeah. It was hectic.
No, you cannot tell me that your thinking was because it was the first time you dealt with a riot. That's not an answer. I was asking you, what is your thinking? Why did you decide to stay there?
I don't know.
What was your purpose? But you stayed there
Yesterday, yeah.
with the police and the military.
At the administration block outside.
Yeah.
Yes, I was there.
So what happened after that?
After that, there was a time when they moved down. I did not follow them. They moved down.
They moved out where?
Down towards May Block, yeah.
The mill block.
Yeah.
You didn't follow them?
Not directly. After that, I went down.
And when you went down, what did you find out?
Sorry, hold on.
Okay.
You said they went down.
Yeah.
Did you go with them or not?
After.
So
Later. Not.
So when they went down at
Yeah.
that point, did you go with them or not?
No. I will not.
So,
I
who went with them?
Police and all the officer that was involved. A prison officer and the police officer.
Which prison officers went with them?
A couple of names here I can tell you.
Uh-huh.
I have a couple of names here.
Yeah.
There was Corporal Michael David. There was Corporal DLC.
Uh-huh.
There was P.O. Graham Dogley. There was P.O. Julio. There was P.O. Jeffrey Cadence. There was P.O. October, Steve October. I think he came later. No, he was not there. Vanessa Louis was there, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, a couple of more officers
Okay.
were there.
And
Officers.
and you were not there.
No, not following them, no. Stay behind. After that, maybe, not long after I go down, yeah.
Oh, okay, then shortly you joined them.
Shortly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before you tell us what happened next,
Mhm.
what was the purpose
Of the
of that expedition, that
I
operation?
think, I think one word, to take control, yeah. To take control.
To take control.
of what? Because
It's
there was nobody.
Commissioner, let me explain.
Yes.
Information received earlier that day. inmates have already taken control and have keys, the prison key.
Okay.
They already take the prison key, and the damage to the structure, to the cell, whatever.
Okay.
So we have to know and to assess the situation inside.
Okay.
It was a risk to have inmates inside without knowing what was happening. So
I don't think there is a suggestion here that
Okay.
you should not have gone in to find out.
okay.
Not at that point.
Not at
Yeah,
that
the point was you had a strategy
okay,
from that meeting, remember, which was let's storm the prison. So the question is, what you have already agreed that there was no need to storm the prison, but you are still saying we needed to storm the prison so that we can take the keys.
Storm is a word that take control. Yeah, take control.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Take control.
Okay. And was there a plan that was discussed as to how you would take control?
No, not in my presence. No.
Again, as security officer,
Yeah.
there's a plan, and you are not involved?
No.
Did you at any point in time tell them, look, I'm the security officer.
Yeah.
I don't believe that at this point in time there is any need to enter the prison.
I did not know.
Why not?
Did you tell them that at this point in time I need to know the plan?
No, I did not ask anything.
Okay.
I did not.
Why not?
Just did not.
Pardon?
Commissioner, I just did not ask anything here.
So you just went on with the flow.
Yeah.
That really sounds, Inspector, that sounds like you had given up.
No. From my perspective,
Mm.
commissioners, like I told you, I was overseeing security. I'm not
What is security for you?
security.
Oh.
Security is to make sure that everybody is safe.
Who is everybody?
Safe. Inmate, officers,
Ah.
visitors, whatever. So
Right. So so security, your job is to oversee security.
oversee security.
And you said security is to make sure that everybody is safe. In
Yes.
this case, the inmates, the officers.
Officer. Yeah.
Right. Yet you don't know. And you don't even ask what the plan for taking over, for it taking
It's
control
not-
of the
it's
prison
not,
is.
It's not the way because when we have responders, like I'm explaining, police, they are expertise in riot and they are well equipped, everything,
Okay.
So on my thinking was that the other one that,
So your view at this point
the other one
is,
that
your view at this point is
experience.
you are just there to watch what the police officers are going to do.
Yes. Along with our officers, yes.
So do you think that is a way of abdicating from your responsibility?
I don't know, Commissioner.
Because you can't say you are still in charge of security. You are still in charge of making sure that everyone is safe.
Yeah.
When at the same time you are saying you are taking a position that
Still back up.
I am staying away. So you are not in charge of security
Understand.
at that point. So can you at least agree that you were wrong earlier on, or it was not correct earlier on when you said you are in charge of security? You are no longer.
Yeah, I was in charge of security, but I stay away.
So you are someone who is in charge, but you are staying away.
I stayed away, yeah. With decision making, yeah. Input, everything.
Okay.
Earlier on, Commissioner Justice had asked you whether you had given up.
No, not giving.
No, you.
The word giving up is not me. No. It's just like
But-
Commissioner say, going with the flow is
Yeah.
much better, but not giving up. I'm not somebody who will give up. No.
So you've not given up like you. your duties, you were not discharging your duties. You were discharging your functions. You say that the military and the police were the ones who were running the functions. You were just there.
Maybe it's a bit difficult to explain this one because as a law enforcement officer, when there's some other entity come and take over, I think it should all fall on that.
So you should.
That's what I'm
Yeah. So you should admit, Inspector.
Yeah.
Because you should admit that you were not in charge of security at this point. You handed your duties to the police officers.
Okay. I'm
Because our difficulty
I don't understand what you're saying in regards to in charge of security. I was in charge of security. But the other term you were saying that the security as a whole was in the hand of police. That I understand you now. Yeah.
So you had the uniform.
Yes.
That's about it.
I understand you now. Yeah.
You only had the uniform
So
on.
I was not in charge of the security. No.
But can I also you just mentioned now about
Yeah.
10 seconds ago.
Yeah.
You said when another entity comes and take over.
Yeah.
Were you informed that one entity or two entities were taking over the prison?
No, I was not informed.
But why do you say this?
See, this was what I was saying. It's
Did
not a
you
normal
ask-
thing.
You are in charge of security.
Yeah.
Did you ask your CP
Yeah.
what is happening? Who is taking over?
No. But from what I was seeing, and there was previous riot at the prison.
No, we're talking about this one now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know that whenever there's an emergency,
Yes.
or especially riot,
Yes.
that whenever police are involved,
Yes.
they are the one that take over. That's what I.
Okay.
It
Now,
was my.
if you are in charge of the prison,
Yeah.
you are in charge of the prison.
Yeah.
You are the CP. Okay. Let's say you are the CP in charge of the prison, and tomorrow another group of people comes inside the prison, yeah, and kills 2 inmates inside your prison. Who is responsible?
Who's responsible? Your
Because
partner
when
should be-
the inmates are sent to prison, there is a warrant, I think it's called.
Yeah, but I don't think he answered the first question. Who is responsible?
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Who would be
I
responsible?
don't know, Commissioner. I don't know.
Okay. But now let me just go to this little point.
Okay.
Maybe Commissioner Vidot can correct me where I'm wrong. There is a warrant that is served with the person who is sent to prison, and on there it says, I hereby sentence you to Montagne Posée prison under the responsibility of the Commissioner of Prisons.
Yeah.
Now, who is responsible of this person?
It's the Commissioner.
So it is you.
Yes, it's me.
He's not the commissioner.
No, I said if he was. Okay, so it is you.
Because you stated it there. You stated that while reading, you say that I sentence you to prison or whatever,
Yes.
Responsibility of the commissioner. So
Yes.
I answer your question. I'm responsible because.
So you are responsible as the Commissioner of Prisons, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, so is it when another entity now comes and take over? I mean, they bypass you completely now.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is it normal? This is your prison.
Commissioner, frankly, I don't know if it's normal. Because
is it lawful?
I don't know. I've never, because may I?
But you know.
May I?
Respect.
I'm
not asking.
Are you trying to? No, because I'm a bit confused whenever you're saying that, because what I understand and what I've learned, this was what I've learned myself. I've become something. Whenever there's another entity, there's happened riot in the past that responders come in prison, and they were the one that was taking over the response.
So the question is,
You get me?
he just, I think you and him have agreed, right? Can you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You've
I'm listening,
agreed that a prisoner, in terms of the law,
Okay.
a prisoner is under the custody
Of the
of
commissioner.
the prison authority. in this case presided by the CP.
They are, yeah.
Right?
Yes, yes.
You have agreed on that, right?
Of course, of course.
So there is no dispute here. That is what the law says.
Yes.
So the question, the follow-up question was,
Mhm.
is it lawful for another entity to come and
Okay.
take over
Mhm.
custody of prisoners without any communication having been done, especially to notify those who are in custody to say, we are now transferring control from you to another entity? That is the question. Is that
we even have that possibility of saying it is under the control of another entity?
yes? So, is it illegal or legal?
If if there was a SOP in place, I would have known. But there's none. So
I'm not saying did you know or not.
I don't know.
Is it legal or not?
I don't know if it's not legal.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
And you said that whenever there's a riot, that's what you know, that the police, that entity, they will be in charge. Or
Yeah.
we take over,
Yeah.
and they will be in charge.
Yeah.
Okay? But at the point after CI Radegon had been released,
Yeah.
according to information received, there was no riot. Because everything had calmed down.
Yeah.
So at that point, there was no need for the police to be in charge. You will agree with me now. There was no need for them to be in charge because there was no riot at that point.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because
if there's no riot,
okay.
okay,
Mhm.
let's put it another way. There's no riot. Do you think there is a need for the prison to abdicate its role to the police?
The police.
In the instance where there's no riot?
No.
No. So, at that point, when after CP Wadegon had been released, information we have, evidence we have, is that there was no riot. The thing had calmed down.
But
So, you will agree with me there was no need for the police or and even worse, the military to be present.
But I wouldn't say there was no riot at that time, even if it was like quiet and there was nothing, because
Exactly, you said there was nothing.
no,
Nothing means there was no riot.
There was nothing. The sequence of what's happening from the beginning until that time, like I told you, stated before.
Okay, 1 minute. Before that,
Okay.
you had a situation where we have evidence that some officers, prison officers, were detained. Okay?
Yeah.
And after that, okay, they were released.
Yes.
The last one to be released was Radegon.
Radegon, yeah.
And evidence also we have is that after Radegon was released, everything had calmed down. So,
Perhaps, is that true or not? Do you have a different version?
I
Were
don't know
things-
exactly because I was
Were things calm or not?
exactly. I don't know how it was the situation down there. I was still at the admin block. Yeah.
so not knowing the situation,
Mm-hmm.
the police and the military stormed inside.
Military, not that time. No.
Not at that time.
At that
The
time,
police,
yeah.
okay, the
Police and
PSSW,
And prison officers. Yeah.
okay, they stormed inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, that was not done through your command.
No. On my command. No.
Do you think that should have been done through your command?
No. Because
Why not?
because if I'm going inside actually with this kind of event, I think with
No,
that
there is no
with that dynamic part of us working with inmate, it will be difficult for us to be involved directly when there's a situation like that. When there's inmate are frustrated, inmate are, there's that.
Early on, you mentioned a training you had,
Yeah.
dynamic security.
Yeah.
Okay, you had that. Maybe other officers who were part of the team, have they had that training?
There's some, yeah.
Um,
Most of them, yeah.
Don't you think they would have been able to put that aspect of their training in use, so as not to occasion the situation that you had at the prison?
Because at that time, Commissioner, there was no custodial officer. Most of them have already retreat outside. And these are these officers that are more, like I said, dynamic with these inmates. We as security officer and escort, like as a whole, we are always having issues with inmates because we enforce the security. There's a lot of things that we do at the prison that we are targeted. It's normal. We are enforcing.
Yeah, that is part of the job.
Yeah, it's part of the job. It's normal.
Yeah.
So it will be another issue if we are the one that's doing that sort of. It should be the custodial officers on ground dealing with that situation.
So, was there any custody officer?
They all retreat.
So,
They all retreat.
and again, you failed in that you didn't call for custody officer to go inside and have that
Yes.
that exercise with the prisoners.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some prison officers who, okay, maybe the question are there some prison officers who suggested that you send them or they be allowed to get in and engage with the inmates?
Not when I was there, but I have information at that time that there was 2 officers that tried to mitigate with to sort out some issues with the inmate.
And what were they allowed to get in?
They were already there. They were there at the gate
Okay.
13 somewhere. Yeah.
Maybe we are not talking of the same. Nobody asked. But there is another witness
Oh.
who we should not identify, but who said he or she
Okay.
asked that if you send,
I've heard this one.
if you send them as a now that might also identify the agenda, but if you send them, they will be able to speak to the inmates and calm things
Yeah, I
down.
was not aware. No.
But do you know of any such requests?
No.
It's either yes or no.
No.
Okay, well, that's fine.
And you know that these officers who came and said what Commissioner of Justice had told you,
Yeah.
they said that they would have been able to pacify everyone, and there would not have been that situation that you had at the prison.
Yeah. I've heard it on the commission. I've heard it. Yeah.
And do you believe they are true?
I can say maybe. I don't know. I cannot say no. I cannot say yes.
Have there been any situations at the prison where any of the officers would have gone down, talked to inmates, and diffuse whatever situation there
Not in my
was?
presence. I heard about it.
You
It
heard
happened,
happening.
but not in my presence. No.
Yeah, and and you've heard as well that these things happened,
Yeah.
and that they were successful.
Yes. In
Yeah.
the past, yeah.
So, don't you think that? Okay, you say you were not aware, but
Mhm.
had these officers been allowed to go inside in the mail block, they would have been able to diffuse the tension that existed at that time?
Lately, there was a change in, if I may. Before there was those requests, especially female officers to, like, put down the tension or whatever. But if I may add something, okay, we conducted search in prison, inside most of the facilities. I'm the one that work on plans to conduct operational plan search. So before there was there was female officer who participated in the search, and they say that participating, have their presence there, will avoid the risk of inmate being violent. They will tend to put them down on the But lately, before 2025, like let's say the fourth quarter of 2025, we tried to add female inmates, female officers in search operation, but they were assaulted, they were harassed, so it doesn't work that well. Like, I don't know, maybe I don't know, but for me, no, it's not safe. It's not safe. No, it's not safe.
Okay, so the police decided to storm in.
Yeah.
And you're not involved at that point.
No.
So, but did you see?
Before. Sorry. Before they went inside. Later, when I joined them, there was that what is called the
megaphone.
Megaphone. Yeah. There was one post officer who was giving them alternative. Every 2 minutes, he was calling them to give themselves up to move out of prison. So I was there that time. I was next to him.
And some inmates decided to give themselves up?
That time, no. There's some coming from the gym coming up. They were passing by. Yeah, they were letting. Yeah. Most of these inmates that was inside, they didn't come out. No. All the inmates that was inside.
And knowing the prison setup,
yeah.
Do you feel that inmates who were in the prison, all of them would have heard what the police was asking of them?
They will have, but one thing I managed to get from the communication was that it was done on in Creole. So that was the one discrepancy that I've seen. Yeah.
Okay.
The warning was done in Creole.
So the police moved in.
Yeah.
What happened? You are not there at that moment.
I'm not there. No.
At what point in time do you join?
A couple of times after, when they were moving, because I was just in and out on instant movement to debrief in the offices.
So
high offices.
What I don't understand is that at that point you went in and out to debrief, but when the situation was calm after Sia Agadegon had been released, you don't go back to tell them that?
I was instructed.
No, but you said you went in and out to debrief.
Later, another instruction to go and see what's the situation inside and report.
Yes, so you were instructed.
Yeah.
But at the point when everything was quiet.
Yeah.
So there would have been a need for you to go back and explain to them that everything is quiet at this point in time. Leave it. We'll deal with it at a later stage.
Yeah.
You agree with me?
Of course.
Yeah. So at what point in time do you join the police inside, or did the military go in before you went in?
They were in before me. Yeah.
They went in before you?
Yeah.
So
were in before. Yeah.
And the military, were they armed?
Yes.
What with?
Baton.
What about guns?
They have some weapons with them. Yeah.
Guns,
Yeah.
shotguns.
I don't know what it's called, but there was gun.
Yeah. And did they have grenades with them?
Grenades. I heard grenades. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't see with them, but I heard.
Yeah, but you heard.
I heard
Yeah.
grenades. Yeah.
You heard grenades being used.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you went in after the military.
No. Sorry. After before the military, I was there when they were on the first floor. Officers were on the first floor struggling, and I was there at the time, and I have to go. I go back. Yeah, I go back.
You went to the first floor?
Not on the floor, but on the step leading to the first floor. I was
Okay.
there. Yeah.
And at that point in time, where is Tony Joe?
I didn't see Tony Joe that time. No,
Okay.
that time I don't see him.
But at a certain point in time, he came
I
inside.
see him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, okay, so you went in, and the military came after you
Yeah, later. Yeah, on
Yeah.
the second floor. Yeah, second floor.
when you were on the second floor.
Yeah.
What did you notice on the first floor? On the ground floor, that is.
It was messy, dark, messy. Yeah.
Yeah. What about the inmates?
That time,
Yeah.
it was not much. There was no inmates at the ground floor. What I have seen when I came, there was no inmates at the ground floor.
Okay.
Most of them was already.
And
All of them.
did you notice that some inmates had gone to the is it the waiting room or visiting area?
Yeah, that time I was there. I was around there. I see them
Yeah.
coming. Yeah, I see them coming.
They had been handcuffed and taken to the.
Yeah, handcuffed and taken there and then stay there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That time I was around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you move up to the second floor.
Second floor, yeah.
What did you see there?
When I arrived there, I was. It was muddy. Not muddy, but there was a lot of water, like puddle of water. A lot of broken blocks on the ground. Because I was trying to figure out where I put, because it was full of water, so I don't want my shoes to get water inside. So I was leaning to the wall to get height on a block, and all the movement, all the action was in the far end of the section.
When you say action, what do you
Like
mean?
everything, all the movement, all the activity was in the.
What kind
in
of
the-
activity?
There was struggling, there was hitting, I see a lot of, not see, but you can see all because it was dark, the torch was going like this and things going up, down, crying, a lot of, yeah.
Who was crying?
Inmate was crying,
Okay.
yeah.
And who was doing the beating?
Well, it was police, it was the army.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, you
Yeah.
saw police and the army beating up inmates.
Not directly, but
Okay.
What
You
I
said the
s-
movement.
Yeah,
It was the army and the police.
yeah.
So at this point in time, you are a security officer.
Yeah.
You have the security of these inmates
Yeah,
under your command,
Yeah.
under your control.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Nothing, I did not do anything.
So you just was there as an observer and watching what was happening?
Yeah.
Just a follow-up question. When the police and the army were beating up the inmates,
Mhm.
what were the inmates? Then you said the inmates were crying and
Mhm,
shouting. What else were the inmates doing?
I don't know what they were doing, but they were pulling one by one and they were passing by, they were beaten by with the stick, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so they were pulling them
One by one. They were,
one by one.
yeah.
And
Because
and
I see
beating
that
them.
one by one was moving out of the crowd there.
Okay.
So passing by the corridor to go down. Yeah.
At that time, were the inmates resisting anything?
Yeah, they were resisting.
How were they showing their resistance?
Either way, they were being like
Verbal,
violent,
it was all verbal.
violent. Yeah.
was verbal,
Yeah.
resistance.
Yeah.
I want him to answer.
Yeah, it was verbal and yeah, I said
It was?
It was verbal and I could not see because it was dark. The one
Yeah,
that
but you are seeing
that were
one by
closer,
one.
that were closer, maybe might have, but I have not seen it.
You said you are
So-
seeing them being pulled one by one. So you are seeing it.
Yes,
You can't
yes.
say I'm not seeing it.
I have seen it.
And you are saying they are being
Yeah,
beaten.
yeah,
So
yeah.
my question is, what are the inmates doing? You said they are resisting. So my question was, how are they resisting?
Verbally, they were shouting, swearing, and
That's not the resistance.
yeah.
That's reaction.
So
So
I
they are
didn't-
shouting.
So
They are shouting and screaming because of the beating.
Yeah, yeah.
So there is no resistance.
Yes.
So
Commissioner, I did not see because it was dark. It was in the end of the section.
okay, I hear you about that.
Okay.
I'm
The
talking
in-
about the ones that you saw being taken one by
I
one.
was taking
Yeah, so that's the one. Those are the ones I'm
at the
asking.
back. Yeah. Officers was moving on in a direction, and inmates was being pulled from that direction out of the group. So,
Yeah, Inspector, you said you saw inmates being pulled one by one
Yes.
and being beaten.
They've
as they are
been
being
beaten as
pulled.
they passing by the.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's. I want you to answer my question
Okay.
with regard to those inmates that you are seeing being pulled by
Okay.
one by one.
Okay.
I'm saying, as they are being beaten, what are they doing? They are screaming and shouting. That was your
I
answer,
think
right?
screaming. Yeah.
So- So I asked the question again: Were they resisting?
No, I didn't see. From where I was, didn't see them resisting.
They were not resisting.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the inmates are coming out one by one,
One by one.
but taken by military officers or police officers?
Both. Yeah.
Both, okay. And they are being beaten at that time as they are taken away from the group,
Yes.
and you stand by, just watch.
Yes. That time that what happened. Yeah.
And you at that time that you see them being beaten, as the security officer, what was going on through your mind?
I didn't expect this to happen. The way it was. Yeah.
What was
Didn't
going on?
expect- I didn't
to your mind?
expect this to happen.
So you didn't expect.
Yeah.
Was it something that needed to happen?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
No,
if it
needed.
was not something that needed to happen,
Yeah.
as a security officer who has the duty to protect these inmates, okay, what did you do?
I didn't do anything, Commissioner. I was just observing and trying to see what was going on. Yeah, that's it.
Were you happy?
No, of course no. Of course not. I don't believe in these things. No.
You don't believe in what?
In assault. No, I don't believe in it.
It's full of- I would like you to verbalize
Yeah.
this, because you keep saying, I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah.
I do not believe in these things.
Mhm.
What are these things that you're talking about that you were not expecting to happen?
Inmates being assaulted like that. Yeah.
So can you
Beaten.
can you yeah?
Inmates being beaten.
Okay,
Yeah.
inmates being beaten.
Yeah.
How were they being beaten? Can you describe the beatings?
With stick and yeah. It was gross, yeah.
It was.
Because I've seen some inmates that was passing by with a lot of
It was.
injury, yeah.
It was.
It was gross,
It was gross.
disturbing, yeah.
It was disturbing.
It was disturbing, yeah.
Did you also say it was brutal?
Yeah, it was brutal, yeah.
Okay, and you could see the injuries.
Yeah.
Some of the injuries.
Yes.
Were serious injuries.
I've seen one, yeah, because he fell down close to me, yeah.
Okay, let's talk
That's
about
the one
that
that I was referring to.
He
that it
falls
was
down
brutal.
close to you,
Yeah.
and they continue to beat him.
No.
Oh.
That time, they already dragged him out, and he fell down. And at that same time also, another prison officer came and removed him. And
What did you see on that prisoner who fell down on you?
he was beat. There was a lot of blood.
A lot of blood.
Lot of blood,
Okay,
yeah.
so these are the things that you are saying, I didn't expect this to happen.
No.
Okay.
Okay. So you didn't expect these things to happen. You did not do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is, you are now on the first floor.
The second floor.
Pardon?
Second.
You're on the second floor.
Yeah.
And do you see Tony Joe at that point?
He came by before that inmate fell down. He came around. I see him passing by because where I was standing, I can see with the light going on. I know him. I can see him. He was there, partially passing by with another officer. But then I didn't see him again. Just partially, I see him. Yeah, but he was not moving towards the crowd. He was just maybe somewhere there. Yeah.
He too was watching what was happening. You would
Sorry?
say. You would say that he as well was
He
watching.
was there.
what was
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing, but he was there with another guy. Yeah, he was there. I see him there.
You are seeing him for how?
Sorry.
Is this for the third time?
Briefly, I see him.
Second.
That's the first time I see him on the fifth. On the fifth night, I see him inside there. Like he was there inside.
I'm talking about this incident.
Okay.
That you saw him. Was it the third time? Was it the fourth time? Was it the second time?
Which one?
You are seeing him inside.
Ah, Tony?
Ah.
No. Inside I see him only on the second floor. Second floor. When I was up there leading to the...
So this was the first time.
That's the first time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yet you didn't do anything. So, what is it that happened next, or what did you do?
Yeah, after the officer, I believe it was Sergeant Joliquet, who came and pulled Mr. Nesta. He was the one that fell down next to me in the corridor.
So you saw Ernesta.
Yeah, he was there, and by the time I was looking at him, I was trying to figure out who he was. Then the officer came and pulled him out, and it was around that time after that I followed the inmates down.
How did they pull him out?
He was just like taking him like this and from his
And dragging him.
Yeah, because he cannot walk. He was just like.
Okay, so let's understand. Did they carry him or did they drag him?
Drag him.
Okay.
From up there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From up there, going down the stairs, he was being dragged.
Then no. Stairs, no. They tried to hold him. A couple of officers, but from where he was dragged with one officer from the back.
Who officers were they? What officers
Prison
were they?
officer.
Huh?
Sergeant Joliquet. I believe I see him. He was the one that picked up.
Joliquet dragged him,
Yeah.
and who lifted him at the
From the stairs, I don't remember. But Joliquet was among the officers who bring him.
So
down.
you don't know if he was dragged down the stairs?
No, I was behind. He was not dragged. He was.
Who took him up? Who lifted him?
I can't remember. I can't recall. But I know it was.
Was it
Joliquet.
prison officers?
Prison officers, yeah.
And at that point, how can you describe the wounds, his state, the state of his wounds, injuries?
Later, because
No, at that, because you said you saw him.
I say only him. Yeah, he was.
fell.
It was bad. Yeah.
How bad was it?
Because of the blood covering, and I see in the water, there was also blood. Also, like I can see it. It was next to me. So. Yeah.
So they dragged him when he had these bad wounds, injuries. Then they dragged him down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Mr. Ernesta, he was an old man at that time.
Old man. Yeah. Old man.
And have you ever had any cause to discipline him for anything?
No.
How you describe him?
I can describe that he rarely come outside. He's always staying inside prison. We rarely see him outside.
He's not a troublemaker.
No.
And
You'll never hear of Mr. Ernesta.
and did you see whoever assaulted him?
No, I will never. No.
And do you think that the persons who assaulted him had cause to assault him?
I don't know.
Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you think that the persons who assault him should face the law?
Well, of course, yeah. Yes.
When
Yeah,
you
man
think
of beating.
about his situation
Mm-hmm.
at that moment,
Yeah.
do you still think you acted correctly by just watching and not doing anything? Because he asked you earlier on and said you saw the beatings,
Yeah.
and you said I didn't expect these types of beatings to be taking place.
Yeah.
And you didn't, go back to the Commissioner of Prisons to say this needs to stop.
No, I did not.
Right. So do you think you acted correctly?
No. I could have done better.
You could have done better.
Yeah.
Do you think if you had, or were you in a position to actually talk to the Commissioner of Prisons at that time and say, I did not expect these things that are happening inside here prison
No,
to happen. You were not in a position
No,
to.
no.
Why?
No. This might have happened, but no, I was not in a position.
When I say were you in a position, I mean, were you, if you had decided
Okay.
to raise the issues with her and say, the things that are happening inside here are bad, they are brutal, they are terrible. You were in a position to be able to raise these issues with her. That's what I mean when I say,
Yeah.
were you in a position to communicate with her?
That time,
You were not.
no.
Why were you not in that? Why do you think you were not in that position?
Because at that time I did not directly go back to the administration. I was there and was trying to because at that time when I was going down, there was a lot of issues down also. With inmates that was being placed in the cell. A lot of it was
Okay,
it was,
so it was chaotic. I
it
hear
was
you.
chaotic,
I get you.
Yeah.
But in such a situation, because that's earlier what you told us,
Yeah.
you were there
Yeah.
to monitor. That's what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Because you said you were not part of the people implementing and designing the
Actively,
strategy.
yeah,
You were
yeah.
just monitoring,
Yeah.
just observing.
Yeah.
So surely you could have spoken to CP over the phone, over the radio. Did you have a radio?
No.
You didn't have a radio.
No.
Okay, so you did not have a radio equipment
Yeah.
inside. But you could have still come out and communicated with CP. I say this because earlier on you said you were in and out,
In and out,
in
yeah.
and
In
out,
and out,
right?
Yeah. That was the. That was
So can you still say you were not in a position to, or you just?
I could have done.
Yeah. So you were in a position to,
I was in a position
to raise
I
these
understand-
issues
I
with
understand-
CP,
I
but you
understand.
did not.
I understand you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to follow up on that, any point in time, even after the incident, did you raise these issues with the CP?
No. Because it was all in the police investigation. So
Irrespective, it was in the police.
Yeah.
It was in the police investigation. Don't you think there was a duty upon you to report and discuss these things with the CP?
should have. Yeah. Should have.
Okay. And anybody else you observed who had injuries on them?
Yeah. Rosette. I've known Rosette. Yeah. I know Chi Rosette. I know him. Yeah.
What kind
I
of
have some
injuries he had?
He also was working like he was badly hurt. Can recall he was badly hurt. Yeah. His head
Whereabouts?
was broken. Whatever. Yeah. That's what I remember. Rosette. And the other guys, I see them down on ground floor later. Yeah. The one that have minor and injury, but the one that was worse injury was in bad state. They already was already making their way out of prison. So
Okay. You saw Shabani?
Kizaba, I see him. Yeah, I see him
You
at one time. Yeah.
You saw him at one time.
Yeah, at one time. Yeah.
And was he injured as well?
He was injured in his leg. Yeah.
Was the injury consistent with being shot at?
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
But it was bad. Yeah.
It was very bad.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I've seen him. Yeah. It was bad.
And Shabani, was he a problem? An inmate who causes problem?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. And Jerry Machot, did you see him?
No. Jerry, later. I see him later when he was down.
When he was down?
I can
when-
continue after.
Okay, well,
Yeah, yeah,
so when he was down,
Yeah.
you saw him. In what state was he in?
Actually, when I see him, at that time when I was at the ground floor, later I moved to, then it was later, maybe about half an hour later, I moved to the admin block. Then we hear on radio, there was an information that there's an inmate who's not responsive on the second floor. That's where we came from. And then some officers rushed back to check. And I was there, I would rush also, and he was there. That's when I see him. He was there, not responding.
The radio.
Yeah, he just said.
Because you just said you didn't have a radio.
No, I hear officers have radio next to me. There was
You
communication.
didn't have a radio.
No, I don't have radio, sir.
You are the. So the officers who had radios are they police officers, prison officers?
Prison.
Prison officers.
Yeah.
So you have prison officers
Yeah.
who have radios,
Yeah.
but you don't have a radio,
I don't have a radio, no.
and you are the head of security in
Yes.
prison.
Yes.
Who allocates radios?
Allocate radios. It's there's
Or
radios.
who
with-
decides
there
who
is
should have
there
radios?
is radio with the custodial unit, custodial officers. That's
Okay.
another unit, not security. And for security is the officer that is working mostly with on the towers, and yeah,
So the security department, you don't use radios.
we use. As other one that is on the physical
So my question
element
is,
of yeah.
who determines on this day, on 5 December, so who was making decisions as to which officer will carry a radio?
No, nobody was deciding who was radio.
Nobody was
They
deciding.
have their own radio that was already with them on duty. That's the one that have the radio, because we don't have that much radio. So the
So
one that
you-
was
you-
working on that shift.
Where was your radio when you?
I don't have any radio.
You don't have a radio.
I don't have a radio no, at that time, because we don't have much radio, and the needs was for officers that was on ground to have the.
So the
radio.
head of security at Montagne Posée
Yeah,
prison,
yeah.
Inspector Ivan Nicola,
Yes.
does not have a radio.
I don't. That time I don't have a radio. No. At that time.
Okay, you said that the officers next to you had radio, but could you not have borrowed one of the officers' radio to make contact with the?
I could have.
You never thought of that? You saw people being beaten, seriously beaten, okay? And you stand there, you watch, you don't even think of going back to tell them that the situation is very serious, that at least we should stop what was going on. You didn't go back, but you had a radio within your reach. You could take another officer's radio.
Yeah, I could have. Yeah.
And that didn't come to
No,
mind
no.
at all.
No.
Officer, you're failing seriously in your duties.
Yes.
Yeah. And who else did you see?
Sorry?
Who else did you see who were injured?
I can recall. It's a lot of them.
A lot of them.
A lot of them. Yeah.
And do you feel that there was good cause, and there should never be anyway, for such aggression being perpetrated on the inmates?
Yeah. No. I don't believe in aggression.
Okay.
No.
Do you think that their action was criminal?
Well, if there's a two dead inmates, so it's a criminal. Yeah, it's a criminal case, so it's criminal. Yeah. It's criminal.
It's not only the deaths that happened. There were 2 people who died. There were people who were seriously injured.
Yeah.
Okay. You saw Fabio Subramanian?
No.
You didn't see him?
No.
You know he had serious injuries as well?
Yes.
Okay. And such act would be criminal.
It should be criminal.
And so you believe that the officers who perpetrated such aggression on such inmates should face the brunt of the law.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So after you saw the inmates and everything,
Yeah.
what did you do thereafter?
Was more or less on the ground floor, helping with the inmates. When they were inmates, was placed back inside the cell. I was there, helping to get them mattresses and everything. Yeah, there was mattresses distributed. Yeah, so I was there that time.
And that was the last time you were at the mail block?
That was yes.
That would have been on the 6th.
On the 6th morning, early morning. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the military and the police, did they remain on site?
Until the next day, there was a couple of them. Then after that, they removed.
That is on the 6th. There were a couple of them.
A couple of them, I think. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Did at any point in time any of them go back into the cells, the mail block?
Block, I cannot recall. No, I cannot recall. After the inmates were placed in the cell, I cannot recall if they were going back inside.
Yes. Inspector, there is a famous list that was going around. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware, I don't know. That's what they're saying. I don't know what they're saying. They say I have a list, yeah.
Who is they?
I heard officers on the TV. Inmates also were speculating since before. And I have a list. I don't know what
But
list.
you said officers.
Yeah,
Officers also?
as well.
Officers also?
Officers,
Yeah.
prison.
Prison officers, yeah.
You're saying that there is a list.
They're saying that I have a paper with me.
That you had a paper.
Yes.
Did you have a paper?
I did not have any paper. At the mail block, I did not have any paper with me. I have only
At what
a
point in time did
button.
you have a paper?
A button with me.
You said at the mail block you didn't have a paper. At what point in time
Maybe
did you
at
have
the
a paper?
administration block, I have a paper with me. But I believe it's no. I cannot even recall if I have a paper. But it's normal if I have a paper with me, a pen or something like that at that time. But I don't recall at the mail block I have any paper. For what purpose?
Who were the people who were being targeted on that day?
Targeted. Nobody was being targeted.
So there was no instruction, or you never heard any instructions that certain people had to be targeted?
No. Never happened. Never happened.
It never happened, or you didn't hear?
I didn't hear.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't hear.
Because we have evidence that suggests that some people were targeted.
That some people are being targeted. Yeah. But I didn't hear, no. And I myself did not instruct any officers to target anybody. Nobody.
You never overheard the military saying, identifying people who would be targeted?
No. I didn't hear that. No.
You earlier on said you believe that officers who brutally assaulted, caused these serious injuries should be held accountable. Is that correct? That's what you said.
Yes,
earlier.
yes.
Do you also believe that you should be held accountable?
I don't know. It's up to the whatever happened. I'm here. I'm an accountability officer, so
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking.
yes.
So
I cannot
you can't
say
say,
no.
you
I'm
can't
the-
say I don't know.
I'm accountable officer.
No,
Yeah.
Inspector. On the other question, your answer was very clear that you believe they should be held accountable. Now I'm asking you a
Okay.
question concerning you, then you say, I don't know.
If I'm security in charge, yes, I'm.
No, accountability does not mean you are guilty. It means we have to
Yeah, I know.
You have to
Yes.
to be answerable, and
Yes,
if you are
yes, yes.
found to have done something wrong,
Yeah.
then you face the consequences.
I understand this. Yeah.
So do you think
Mhm.
you being the head of security and your job is to make sure that everyone in the prison property is safe, but you observe inmates being brutalized and you do not plead with the military officers to stop what they are doing, or you do not report that to the prison authorities, do you think you should be held accountable for that as well?
If yes.
Yeah. Because in other language that is called criminal negligence. So you are neglecting your duties, and as a result of neglecting your duties, the people you are supposed to be protecting are suffering harm.
Yes.
Okay.
What about the CP? Do you think she should be held accountable?
It's up to her to answer the question.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you that question.
I cannot say this.
No. You were there. You saw what happened. You followed.
I'm
You followed everything that happened.
you-
What do you think?
maybe you don't. When you are, it's not a
What do you
question
think?
for me to answer. No, I don't know.
Yeah, but
That's-
earlier
that's-
on you were asked this question. Do you think that the police officers, the military officers that you saw brutalizing
Yeah.
should be held accountable? You didn't have any problems with answering that question.
Yeah.
You said yes.
Yeah.
So he's asking you,
No,
Commissioner is asking you, do you think the CP
Okay.
of prison
I'm
should
saying-
also be held accountable? Then you say, it's up to you. I don't know.
No, no.
Why is it difficult now?
The answer is different because
Okay.
directly,
Mhm.
this one that was involved, if there was no means or needs to be assaulting, they should be accountable. But the one who's there, maybe there's a certain type of yeah.
There is accountability, I would tell you,
Accountability.
because they are supposed to be in charge. And when the inmates are sent to prison, they are under
Under
the charge of the.
Yeah.
So she allowed, by calling in the military, to deal with the situation, which there was no need. She allowed that. Then don't you think she should be held accountable for the loss of life and the injuries that or the inmates
Yeah.
sustained?
So if it's that way, it's accountability. Yeah, accountable. Yeah.
Or maybe she would have acted if you had told her.
Sorry.
Or maybe she would have acted if you had informed her that people are being brutalized here. You didn't.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
What duties did you give to Tony Joe on the day?
Just to deal with the perimeter. Make sure that there's officers on the perimeter, because we have to surrender the perimeter. Because at around that time we don't have, there was not much officer to cover all the tower.
Okay.
So reinforce it at that time.
And
Officers.
who was he working with?
He was as a corporal, he was the supervisor for
supervising who?
Nepali and some station around the gate there.
Can you tell us who are these officers that he was supervising? Because this is your team, right?
Yeah.
Who are these?
He will be the one supervising the officers on gate 13, gate 7, gate 1, and the perimeter. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over to you, Commissioner Terrant.
Okay. Inspector,
Yep.
I just want to go back to what Commissioner Vidot was saying. I mean, earlier in our conversation, you said, when I asked you,
Yeah.
if you were the commissioner of prisons and that inmates were sent to your prison under your responsibility and people were assaulted and killed, you agreed that you were responsible of this.
Yeah, I'm probably
Okay.
yeah.
Now, what difference has it got with the CP now taking you out of there and the CP was there now? Does it change the dynamics? It's the same.
Same, yeah.
Okay.
Same,
Judge Vidot also asked you about. Sorry. Commissioner Vidot asked you. I'm sorry. I'm so used to.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the reason why we have to do that is we are recording
exactly.
this, and this is evidence.
Okay.
So we don't want him to then say, no, at that point, I was intimidated. So let me clarify it on record.
Okay.
You are speaking to commissioners, and you are giving your evidence to commissioners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Now, Commissioner Vidot asked you about what you thought of the conduct of Mr. Enesta in the prison. How was he? And then what did you say?
About him?
Yes.
Yeah, anyway, we don't have any issues with him. I didn't hear, as a security, we don't hear any issues with Mr. Enesta.
So
no.
you
He is somebody that's always inside. We don't see him outside.
Okay. Now, how would you describe inmate Jerry Machiot as well? Was he a troublemaker? Did you get any reports? Was he charged for anything and reprimanded or whatever?
There was some instance when he was at the Remand Center at Bois.
Yes.
He was voicey and like usual other inmates, yeah.
Yeah, was any action taken against him?
No, it's this group.
So he was okay?
It was okay, yeah.
Okay.
Nothing. Remand, at Remand Center, yeah.
But once he became a...
I didn't know about what his behavior was at Montagne, I don't know.
Okay. Now, when you were in the meeting, it was early in the meeting, you were going to start the operation. Yes? Did the meeting decide on the appointment of a senior officer to have the responsibility to carry out a log? So that a log, that means the sequence of an incident with time and everything, so that this would be used after to prepare a preliminary report, and after the preliminary report, you would provide a full detailed report to the minister. Was there somebody that was doing this?
There was none, no.
There was none.
No.
So, was there a preliminary report? Did you see a report after this incident?
No.
So there was no report?
No.
So how was the minister briefed on what was happening?
We were briefed the next following day.
No, I'm asking about the minister. How did the minister receive his briefing on the incident?
I don't know, sir. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Do you think it was verbal?
I don't know.
Okay.
But the minister visited the prison on the 7th of December. Am I correct?
Yeah, he came. I've seen him. But
On the 7th, the minister
maybe I was not there, but I don't know.
Okay.
I was not there.
Now, would you say that the supporting forces that arrived on that night, were they familiar with the layout of the block, of the mail block?
No.
They were not familiar?
They were not familiar, no.
Okay, so they
According to them,
yes.
They were not familiar. No.
Okay. Now, in the meeting that was taking place, was there a floor plan of the prison in order to instruct those forces on how the prison looked like and what was inside the prison? Was there a floor plan that was put forward to guide those forces?
That time we don't have one.
So there was none?
No.
Okay.
And the floor plan would have helped with the...
I know. There was no.
With whatever plan you had,
We didn't have any. There was not any plan.
how you would storm the prison, how
Yeah.
whatever you would
There
do,
was no plan to see how
which-
to get in,
exactly how to
exit.
get in,
Yeah,
how to get out.
Yeah, there was none.
Okay. So, supporting forces arrived with guns and rifles and grenades and whatever it is, yeah?
Yep.
Now, if you don't know the setup of the prison, how the prison looks like, the only way for you to take control of the prison is to do a lot of firing as you enter in order to push the inmates out of your way so that you are able to see where you are going. Do we agree?
I don't know how it happened that.
No, but do you agree? Because I don't know. As an army officer, for example, I don't know how this block looks like. I know there are lots of people in there. Where they are, I don't know. Now, I've got a section of people that I need to bring inside the prison.
Yeah.
Now, how do I get inside? Is by firing a lot of bullets and getting the people to run and hide and whatever it is so that I can go in.
Tactically, I don't think it's
Huh?
wise. No. Tactically, no. I don't think it's wise.
So how would I go? I just come in, open the gate, walk in, and say, "Hi guys, I'm coming in."
I think that's the put through. The other one that's trained with how to get people in and out of situations.
Yeah, but they don't know. They don't know the setting of
That's
the
why
prison.
there was prison officer with them at that time.
Yeah, the prison officers, they know.
They know, yeah.
But you've got 2-3 police prison officers. How do they manage this with the
I don't know how
with the officers?
they did communicate with the officers.
Huh?
I don't know how they did manage to communicate
But
with
they were not able to communicate because everybody was watching for stones being thrown at them. It was, as you said, it was a problem. So how can I communicate nicely with? So that was a problem. You agree with it?
Understood, yeah.
Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to ask you, as the head of security with the responsibility of protecting the prison staff, the inmates,
Yeah.
the prison establishment, everything, do you think the presence of army officers I'm talking about, or any other group of people carrying weapons, yeah, was this presence justified in your opinion? And if you thought it was not proper, did you voice out anything in the meeting to say that, look guys, weapons are going to be used in this setup? Yeah? I don't think it's a wise idea. I think maybe we could do such and such, whatever you thought about that at the moment. So you did not do it?
No. Because our guys also was carrying non-lethal, so...
Let's talk non-lethal, as you said.
Yeah.
Non-lethal weapons can be lethal weapons.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yes.
How can it be lethal weapon? I want you to tell me how it will.
The position.
Sorry?
Position.
The position.
Yeah.
When you say position, explain.
The position of the how we target the person, or the position and the distance.
The distance.
It's a factor, yeah.
So when you say distance, what do you mean?
How close you are with that person.
Okay. So if somebody is firing non-lethal weapon, as you are saying,
Yeah.
rubber bullets or whatever, at a very close range to somebody, it can kill.
It can, yeah.
Okay. So that means this as well was one of the issues that you could have raised.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just a final question. I just want you to say what you think about it. Do you know what army officers are trained for? Why do you think army officers are trained with guns and rifles and mortars and whatever it is?
To kill.
To kill?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
To kill, yeah.
Okay. And what are the rules of engagement of a prison of an army officer?
I don't know this.
Because, you know, if people are watching this conversation, to kill when it is necessary.
When it is needed, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want us
Just
to
to go
create
and
an
kill.
impression out there that the army is just
Understood.
there to
Yeah.
It's to kill a target when it is necessary.
Necessity,
Right?
yeah.
Okay. Continue, Commissioner.
Okay. So, what would be the rules of engagement? Now, you said
Mm-hmm.
army officers would use weapons
Yeah.
to kill when there is a necessity
Yeah.
to kill. Okay? Now, what would be the rules of engagement?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the rules of engagement of the army was justifiable on that particular night?
I would say no. With the concept of the prison, I would say no. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I just have one.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you have another. Okay. I just have one question that arose from your conversation,
Yeah.
from your testimony answering Commissioner Tehant's questions.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no floor plan that was given to the prison officers,
It's
right, to guide them on how to move in. So who showed them how to move around the prison?
the prison officers.
It's the prison officers.
Yeah.
Right. And were you one of those prison officers?
No.
Okay. It was. I remember you mentioned Daniel Delcy.
DLC and the rest, yeah, and the guy, yeah.
Okay. Can you give us at least 5 of the? How many officers were there? How many?
There was around 10.
Okay. How many officers were there?
Around 10 of them, yeah.
Around 10 of them.
Yeah, when I compile
Okay.
the list.
So can we have that list?
Yeah.
Are you able?
You want me to read
just-
it now or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we take note of that list.
I have Sergeant Boniface,
Mm.
who was engaged. Sergeant Joliquet, who was there. Then Corporal Daniel Delcy. Corporal Tony Joe, he was already inside. His name is mentioned.
Wait.
Sorry?
Let's start again. I want minimum movement because we want to hear that list
Okay.
properly.
Okay.
So let's can we hear the list? Start from the beginning.
Sergeant Patrick Boniface.
Uh-huh.
Sergeant Joliquet.
Uh-huh.
Joris Joliquet.
Uh-huh.
Corporal Delcy.
Uh-huh.
Which DLC, yeah?
Delcy, yeah. Corporal Michael.
Uh-huh.
Corporal Tony.
Say their full names.
Tony Joe Juliet.
Sorry?
Daniel Delcy.
So sorry, you said corporal?
Tony Joe Juliet.
You said corporal?
Corporal, yeah. At
No,
that time.
Say the name.
Corporal Tony Joe Juliet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Continue.
Uh-huh.
You get Michael, Corporal Michael.
Yep.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Pio Jeffrey Cadence.
Uh-huh.
Pio Jean-Philippe Confiance. Pio Steve Octobre.
Uh-huh.
Pio Julio Auguste. Pio Graham Dogre. And Corporal Vanessa.
Okay. So I want you to say yes or no, right?
Okay.
So these officers that you have just read out
Mm-hmm.
are officers who were instructed to show the police and the military the way through the prison.
Not all of them that was there that time. They were implicated they were actively in the showing, some of them were showing.
No, I think
officers
you are
inside.
now
No, I did
playing
not
some few games.
understand your answers at that time.
Inspector.
I'm giving you all the list of officers engaged in the
What was my question to you? Can you
officers,
remind? Yeah.
officers that was guiding
Mm.
prison officers inside, police officers inside, to know that we are around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what has changed now?
Yeah, it's changed, yeah.
No, what has changed now? Because the question is clear.
No,
You've answered the question.
Yeah.
So you have given me a list.
I think I've given you all these guys. Yeah.
Sorry?
I think I've given you all these guys without
So
cutting the one that was not.
Can we just confirm that?
Okay.
The list that you have given us
Okay.
is the list of prison officers
Wait.
who were instructed to guide.
No. Excuse me, maybe I make a mistake. I was reading all the list. The one that was instructed to guide officers inside, I will mention the name now, because now I've tell you all the...
Before you do that,
Yeah.
when you gave me the list,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think you were giving me the list for?
Before?
What did you think?
No, I
the
was going
question
to
was?
read, and suddenly I was supposed to remind us the one, but I go in and
Why you read a list of prison officers?
Yeah. I was going to read you officers I give instruction that was there at that
For
time
what?
to lead police inside and direct them in several locations.
And that's what you read, right?
Yeah,
So
but when I was reading that one, instead of cutting the one that's not supposed to be, I read all these guys. I think I make a mistake.
You read all these guys,
Yeah,
including who?
There was Sergeant Boniface and Corporal Tony, and I don't believe Steve October was there.
So why did you make that mistake?
Because I was just going and I was just reading the
Can I see that?
Yeah.
So just show us.
Yeah.
Because we have a list of officers there.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take. Sorry, Commissioner. Thank you.
I started with the.
So you have this list.
Yeah.
So you just read the list.
I just read it. Yeah. I did not concentrate on removing the one that was not there on the list. Yeah. Because there was 3 guys, but was not there.
Okay.
Yeah. But later on they were there. But when doing the briefing, I don't believe they were there. They were not there.
So who was not there?
The 2 sergeant was not there. And I believe there's Steve October Confiance was not there. One of the 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I cannot mention.
Can I just complete on what you said now?
Uh-huh.
So you said that the people that were leading
Mm-hmm.
those officers were only 2. Corporal Tony Joe
No.
and Corporal who?
No.
Let's start again. because-
They were not leading. They were not leading the group.
Yeah, but who were leading the group then?
It was police.
Huh?
Police. They were guiding police officers.
Yes, who were they?
ESP Marie and ESP.
No. Who were the prison officers that were?
Okay.
Who were they?
I can give it to you. You just remove Sergeant Boniface and Sergeant Tony Joe. That's
Remove.
yeah. That was from the beginning, but later on they were there. Yeah.
So if I remove Boniface
Yeah.
and who?
And Tony Joe.
So Tony Joe was
And-
not leading the
and-
group?
No. Nobody instruct Tony Joe to lead anything.
But
Nobody.
Tony Joe was on the 2nd floor. What was he doing on the 2nd floor?
That was his own thing to answer. I did not tell him. He was instructed by myself.
Did you instruct him on anything?
I instruct him.
Yes.
I advise him
Yeah, what did you tell
to
him?
move inside prison.
Huh?
Not to go inside prison. Maybe look.
So he disobeyed you?
Yeah, if he was inside, he disobeyed. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah. So there was another name also, maybe that one of the 2, Jean-Philippe or Steve October. I'm not sure if they were in that list before, but later on they were there.
Jolicoeur was there?
He was there. Yeah, he was around.
No, we're talking about people.
People that was going inside.
Yeah, no, with the.
I don't believe Jolicoeur was there, but they were around.
Okay, let's start
listening.
again. Let's start again,
Yeah,
Inspector.
Yeah.
Give me the name one by one. Those ones that were
Okay.
taking the army officers, or I mean the police officers inside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure, Daniel DLC was there.
DLC,
DLC. Graham Dogley.
Graham Dogley,
Julio Gis.
Julio Auguste,
Michael David,
Michael David,
Vanessa Louis.
Vanessa Louis.
Okay, so now I have. So now I have Jeffrey Cadence, Jean-Philippe, Steve.
Jeffrey Cadence.
Yeah.
And then?
And for Steve, Jean-Philippe, Tony, and Boniface, they were not there at that time. I don't believe they were there. But I don't
So
see.
the last person you named now was Jeffrey Cadence,
Yeah.
and nobody else.
No.
So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Okay.
But there might be some officers that was further down at gate 13. Maybe they involved themselves there. But while at the briefing there was not much officers there, prison officers. Yeah. And later on, these officers that I mentioned, Boniface, Tony Joe, I've seen him inside, Steve Octobre, Jean-Philippe, they were there after. So the instruction was to guide, so they were still there. But later on.
Okay,
This
but
is
now-
now confusing. Sorry. It's a bit confusing because the question was very, very simple, and I don't know why you are getting confused.
Okay.
The question is very simple, isn't it? The question is, give us a list of prison officers who guided the police and the military when they were moving through the prison.
Okay.
So you are giving us different
So-
types of lists.
No, I was thinking that you're saying I was.
Please don't
No,
think.
I-
Just
I-
hear
I
the
was-
question
yeah,
and
yeah.
then answer the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
In regards to the briefing, officers present that time that was going inside.
That's not the question I
Okay.
asked.
So it's all these officers.
I just asked you a
Okay,
question,
okay.
and I think you are making it a bit difficult to. The question is, who were the officers that were guiding the police and the army through the prison? Right.
So it's all of them.
First, before you read out anything for me, first, I want you to know whether you. I want me to be satisfied that you've understood that question.
Understand now.
Because I don't want you to answer the question and then you say, no, I didn't understand the question. What is the? Do you understand the
I
question?
understand
I'm
now.
asking?
Yeah.
What is the question I'm asking?
The question is which officer was guiding these officers inside, police officers inside.
Right.
Yes.
So can you answer the question?
I will. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll go back.
Yeah.
Sergeant-
Let's be silent, please.
Sergeant Boniface, Sergeant Zolike, Corporal Delcy, Pio Graham Dogley, Pio Julio Auguste, Pio Steve Octobre, Pio Jean-Philippe Confiance, Pio Jeffrey Cadence, Corporal Michael David, Corporal Vanessa Louis. And without... it's okay? Okay.
Just give us the list. That's fine.
That's it, yeah.
Right. So these are the officers that were involved throughout in showing.
to show, yeah.
No other officers got involved in showing the prison, the police and the military.
That one should be the
Okay.
local officers.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a question.
Pio Graham Dogley, okay? He works in
The escort unit.
escort unit.
Yeah.
He's not inside the prison block. He doesn't work inside the...
No.
So you send somebody without knowledge of the prison, the mail block?
They know inside. We know how it is.
They've been inside?
When there's introduction to prison, you have to go inside and see how the layout of the prison. It's we all know. We all know how it is.
And going back, like when C.I. Dogley had been released, okay?
See how they gone. Yeah.
Adegon had been released. You didn't take action to ensure that the purpose of trying to enter the prison was non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
So would you agree with me? Failure to report back and tell those in command At that time, it was not Mr. George, apparently. Failure to do that, what was caused this whole thing to happen.
I would say.
And that falls on you.
But Commissioner, that's what I'm saying. There was communication between the control room and the command center. So even though if I did not report back to the commissioner, they were getting
your duty.
Feeding,
your duty.
They were being fed with information.
Your
what
duty
was happening.
Your duty. You are a security
Yes.
officer. You
My
are the
side,
ones.
yes.
Yeah.
On my side, yes.
Yeah.
I did not report.
Yeah.
But they were
so
being.
This is what.
That doesn't mean that they were not.
This is what caused it all to happen.
Okay.
And have you received any promotion after the incident happened?
Yeah.
When did you receive promotion?
The 8th of September,
Okay.
2025.
So, despite realizing your failure as a security officer, you got a promotion.
I get a promotion because of my ability, not only because of the happening of the riot. I believe I deserve to be promoted.
Despite the big failure
I did a lot.
allowed the massacre of
understood.
prisoners.
Understood.
Okay.
But I believe I did a lot, yeah. I deserve it, yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Vicky.
Okay, now I've got three little questions, very.
Yeah.
Was the CCTV cameras in and around the prison working at the time of this incident?
There was a couple, not much, especially outside of Mail Block. Mail Block, there was only one camera working at that time.
Only one camera.
Yeah.
But how long has there not been cameras working inside the prison?
I don't know because it's been a while, long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, don't you think if the cameras were working inside the prison, this would have been good for the prison authorities to carry out
Assessment.
whatever they wanted to carry, because they were seeing what was going on and the way that they could follow to get inside the prison?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said a long time before you came, it was not working.
Not working.
Did you, in your capacity as a security officer, try to get those CCTV camera organized and repaired, or?
Many times.
So what
request
happened?
was made, yeah.
What happened?
Contractor come to the on ground and try to fix it, but we don't get much result from it.
Why?
Well, because the contractor was a sole. He was not a big company. He was only one guy. So I don't know his name. He's a foreigner. I forgot his name now.
Yeah, but if he is not carrying out his duties properly, you've got a lot of contractors in Seychelles. And why didn't you contact other contractors?
But that's what happened later.
Later when?
During this year. When the CP Denus came, and I briefed him about what was happening in regards to cameras.
Yes.
And he removed that contractor. Not remove, but he did not get any contract.
So was this difficult to do before this new CP came?
His name is Yuri. Sorry to Yuri, but I don't know if the surname.
Okay.
Yuri.
Was it difficult for the repairs and implementation of the CCTV cameras to be done? Was it difficult before CP Denus came?
To have somebody else to do it?
Yes.
It could have been something to, but that go directly to the DCP because he's the one in charge of logistics.
Who?
The complaint goes directly to DCP, Deputy Commissioner of Prison. In regards to
it's okay. You are the chief of security.
Yeah.
And you need to know. You need to see.
Yes.
The control room needs to know what is going on inside the prison.
Agree. Yeah.
So, why did you not put pressure on the
did.
Deputy Commissioner of Prisons or the Commissioner of Prisons to get this repaired
We
for
did
you?
several times. It was not only me who requested it and put pressure to have it, but he said it's work in progress and it's going to happen, but we waited, so until, yeah.
So it was always work in progress.
Always work in progress, yeah.
That's
But
what-
in most meetings that we
The question is answered. I think he's saying it was not done.
Okay.
yeah.
Now, the last one I want to know, you did, we're going back to Stephen Mordaunt.
Yes.
Okay. You put Stephen Mordaunt in, what cell did you put him in?
CTU Foxwood holding cell.
Say again?
CTU Foxwood holding cell.
And then there was another cell that you mentioned.
No, that's the one. CTU
I wanted to ask you about it.
Care Transition Unit.
Huh?
It's the Care Transition Unit representing CTU, Care Transition Unit. That's the cell.
Where did you get this name? Because
I don't know. It was there when I joined.
because there's nowhere in the Prisons Act that talks about Care Transition Unit, because I've never heard of it. Who invented this word?
I don't know, Commissioner.
Okay. So he was put in CTU. For how long did Stephen Mordaunt stay inside this CTU after you put him? For how long?
Yeah.
And did he ever see CID officers? Because he was put there to see CID officers.
Later on, he not maybe 1 or 2 days.
Huh?
1 or 2 days, he was there. Then he was transferred to the new facility at Perseverance, I believe. I cannot recall.
So
Exactly.
you confirm it was 1 or 2 days or longer?
No, I cannot recall exactly how many days. But he was transferred from there to the other facility at Perseverance.
Okay.
And I don't know about if he ever met with the CID officers. I don't know.
So CID officers never contacted you because you are the security officer.
No.
They should contact you when they are coming to see your people.
No. I'm not aware about.
Would you say that
maybe it happened behind?
it happened and you
maybe
don't know?
Maybe it happened. I don't know. Yes.
Should you have known?
No, it's all everything is reported on report. So
Did you see the report that he was seen?
No.
So that means, are you confirming that he was not seen by CID officers?
Maybe I don't know, Commissioner. I cannot confirm this one.
Yeah, but you didn't see it.
I didn't see. No.
So if you didn't see, that must have been it hasn't happened.
Maybe. I cannot say it. I cannot put myself to say that he.
Sorry?
I cannot say that they came to interview him, or I don't know.
Yeah, but you were told, were instructed
Yeah.
that Stephen Mordaunt was supposed to see CID officers.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if Stephen Mordaunt was supposed to see CID officers, you were supposed to get a feedback if Stephen Mordaunt had seen CID officers.
Yeah.
So you were not told anything.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I can recall. No. Don't remember. I've been informed. No.
Okay. Thank you.
In the prison, do you try to have informant in the prison?
Informant.
Yeah, like you get an inmate to be an informant of what is happening.
There's people that inmate themselves who come forward and give information. A lot of them coming forward.
And those who come forward and give information, do you give them a phone?
No. That's never happened.
Never happened. So I'm sure you heard that there was one inmate who said that he received a phone from you.
Because I heard in the past it happened with the previous.
No. I'm not talking about the previous.
Okay.
The thing is that when I ask you a question, don't
rush.
send me off onto something else. You heard an inmate during the deliberations of the commission stating clearly that you gave him a phone because he was your informant.
No, it's not true.
It's not true.
Not true.
Okay.
Are you responsible for investigation of contraband in prison?
Investigation of contraband? Usually we process it, yeah. And if there's a need to forward it to the police for further investigation, yes, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever found drugs in prison? Okay, thank you. Have you ever found drugs in prison?
Yeah, many times.
In the lead up to 5 December 2024?
Yeah, before, yeah.
Okay.
Not in Mill Block, because we did not conduct any search in Mill Block before the 5th of December.
So you didn't conduct any search in Mel Block?
In Mill Block. But the
when was
facilities.
the last search in Mel Block when these disturbances happened?
Before? Never.
Never?
No.
Why?
It was non-existent.
What do you mean?
It was non-existent that time. I've never heard of officers going inside to search Mill Block.
We've done... But was there a problem with contraband?
There was, yeah.
So there was a problem of contraband in the Mel Block, but there were never searches?
No.
So my question was why?
Because I think in regards to safety of officers, because of the structure, and inmates was not locked, and it was a risk when they attempt to do something there. Yeah.
Okay. And did you have any intelligence suggesting that there might be some disturbances at the prison before 5 December 2024?
Yeah, we hear that there's things gonna happen. They are preparing to do riot. Whatever. They are preparing.
And what did you do with that information?
We have this information. The management know about it, and we were monitoring every day to see.
Sorry, I need you to speak a bit up so that I can hear.
It is information that's always there. Some information might be good.
So the question is, what did you do? You received some intelligence.
Not directly to me. Directly to me, Commissioner.
Yeah, but you are overseeing security.
Yes.
Yeah. So you confirmed that you received that intelligence.
Yes,
I'm not saying directly to you.
Yeah.
But
received.
I'm asking.
We received.
Yeah. So what did you? Now I'm asking you as someone in charge of security.
Yeah.
What did you do with that information?
We wanted to confirm if it's true. Confirmation if the information received is legit or not.
So did you confirm?
We confirmed. It was not happening anytime.
It was not legitimate.
No.
So you would say you were surprised on 5 December when the inmates decided to do what? Yeah. Okay. You did not have any prior warning.
No.
Okay. No. Well, that's okay.
Many officers confirmed here that searches were carried out in mid-block.
No. I will confirm that never. It was after.
So who is telling us the truth? Is it you or them? Because a few officers have said that there was searches being carried out.
I'm telling you the truth.
Okay.
There was no search in mid-block before the 5th of December 2024. It was after, maybe they're confused, it was after the riot that we start implementing search operations.
They were not confused because we asked them.
No, I think that's your version, right?
Yeah,
that's your version.
Okay.
So we take your version because this is your test.
Okay.
And make sure that you are being truthful.
It's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any question? Any other substantive questions? Okay. So we have come to the end of the testimony, and we would like to thank you for coming forward to share with us your testimony. We want to just remind you of your rights as well as a witness before the commission, that no one should victimize you in any way for the testimony that you have given. It is a criminal offense for anyone to victimize you or your family, or harass you or your family for the testimony that you have given today, or for cooperating with the commission in any way in future. If you receive any or you suffer any threats, any victimization, please report to the commission so that the Commission can take appropriate steps. If also you think you would like to clarify certain information, provide new evidence to us, we encourage you to proactively let us know. If we need to ask you further questions, we will obviously get in touch with you. Otherwise, I think, thank you, but I know that you also wanted to give us something. Was it?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. Okay, it's okay. I think what I will do is you can.
He didn't. No?
Yeah,
No.
you can go offline, and please, Inspector, remain seated. Okay, before maybe we go offline, when are we resuming tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are meeting at 1 p.m. The first one is in camera.
No, I want when we are coming back to live, because that's what they want to hear. What time are we coming back live?
It would be at 2:30 p.m.
So we are coming back with the next televised hearing at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. So when you, after you have switched off, you can clear the room. Then, the witness remains with us.